I'll bring you up in a second. Yeah, I keep forgetting to mod that account. I'm gonna mod that account in a second. All right, Michaela. I just gotta go ahead and make sure the that the live is working in other areas, and I'll go ahead and mod up that account. So the person who's in the guest request now, go ahead and stay. I'm gonna bring you up in a second. I'm just making sure that my live starts in other areas, and then I will bring you up. All right, and yeah, I am live everywhere else. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. All right, cool. Got him up. All right.
Hello?
How's it going? I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is that Stiffy or Stiff?
Uh, either way.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
because it's really just an
Imagine being able.
acronym.
Say that again.
I'm sorry, sir, but it's just an acronym. I really don't know how to pronounce it. So it's like either way you pronounce it, it's okay. You said stiffy or stiff or like yeah.
Stiff or Stiffy is fine. All right, cool. Let's
Yes,
go
sir.
with Stiff. All right, Stiffy. How's it going, Stiffy? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I have on the board?
I am 27 years old and
Mhm.
disagree. I don't know. I just want to flesh out what do you mean by point number three, reparations for Black Americans,
Yeah.
as in like. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah. African Americans should receive reparations, not just for slavery, but for redlining, for Jim Crow, for the war on drugs, etc.
Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so with that point, yes, I do not agree. Well, I do not disagree. Let me rephrase.
Hmm.
I agree with that stance. My only question is how do we distinguish Black Americans from other people of skin color that look like us, but they are not from America, if you get what I'm saying.
Immigration records. Like my parents came over in here in the 70s. Like obviously, like though that one I wouldn't count, right?
Mm, thank you for saying that.
Mhm.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, but
Mhm.
see, you are referencing something that happened in the past.
Mhm.
But what about now? I'm in what about now? Like in the past, there was like, like lack, or I ain't gonna say lack, but it wasn't as many populated people in America or in the world,
Mhm.
or just little less America then. So I'm just asking, how does your mindset apply to now? Because it's more people and more Black people or more people with darker skin tone having the same thing.
Call from.
Yeah,
Because
sure. Give me a
you
second,
could
Stiffy.
be right. You cool.
To accept, press 1. To send.
Hey, how's it going? Who's calling? This is Volsi Thoughts. How you
This is
doing?
Timothy Walton. I'm sorry.
How's it going? Are you? Can I have your name, please?
Yes, Timothy.
Timothy. How's it going, Timothy? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yes, I do.
All right, cool. Can you give me a few seconds, Timothy? I gotta finish off with one person first. You're gonna hear some silence, but I'll get to you in a second. All right.
Oh, yes, that's fine.
All right, cool. All right. So yeah, Stiffy, I think the way that we differentiate, like for example, there's one way my parents came over here in the 70s, so I wouldn't count, but then you're talking about like for today, how do we differentiate between what's happening now? Because obviously, even though I'm Haitian, I still face discrimination, right? That is a question, a very good question. And what I've heard is you can do it on a tier system. Essentially, you handle Black Americans first, and then you handle the grievances that the rest of us had, right? Or you can just do for Black Americans, because the way you can do for the way you can handle reparations, anybody who isn't a Black American but still lives around Black people, which was usually Black immigrants, we're going to benefit from it anyway. Like for example, the way to handle redlining is essentially, not only like with cash and giving them money, but to repair those red line communities, those red line areas, to repair how we fund education. And the people who usually live in those areas who are not Black Americans tend to be Black immigrant anyway, and they're going to uh, they're going to benefit from that anyway because they live within those same areas. Does that make sense, Tiffy?
Yes, that does. So I'm assuming
Um,
Wait,
you
hold
are
on now.
advocating
Give me a
for.
second, Tiffy. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm
Okay,
sorry. The person on my
I got
phone.
it.
What's your name again? What's your name again? The person on my phone.
Oh, Timothy.
Timothy, yeah, not you, Timothy. I was talking to Stiffy. Give me a second. Give me 1 second, Timothy. I'm talking to a person on my TikTok. All
Okay.
right, you're not gonna hear them, but that's why I said just give me a second. All right, but yeah, Stiffy over on my TikTok. Does that make sense?
Yes.
oh, you have to reiterate. Just say what the last point was.
Oh,
What you say if you can remember it because I forgot.
yeah, I said that Black immigrants are going to benefit from reparations that Black Americans get regardless. So even if we don't do anything for people of my ethnic group who are Black people, but we're not Black Americans, even if I don't get any type of reparations like from the United States, I will still benefit because I tend to live around Black Americans anyway. You see what I'm saying? And not only that, America did do things to Haiti as well. So there should be some sort of restitution there. You know what I mean? But I believe that it should come after the restitution that Black Americans should get, if that makes sense, Tiffy.
I'm picking up what you're putting down,
Mm.
and my only
Are you?
disagreement with that
I can
is
still
more.
hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a car running by. See,
Mhm.
my only disagreement with that is
I'm sorry.
mainly it's just like
Are you done with the other
if
caller
like
or
like
not?
they're. I'm sorry. You want to address him right quick? I can go on mute. You want to address the other caller?
Oh, you can hear the other callers, Tiffy?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Y'all can hear each other. All right, great. I thought y'all couldn't hear each other. Or yeah, Timothy, I'm still talking to Stiffy because he's on my TikTok. But yeah, I could address the call Stiffy. Give me a second. All right. So Timothy, how's it going? Are you at least 18? You said that you disagree with something, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. What did you disagree with?
So, the reparations narrative that you're trying to advocate for,
Mhm.
and so my biggest counter argument to that is that it's been up for debate, and that was started in the mid 1800s. This is now currently 2026, and we've been separated from slavery a long time ago. Even though I'm also including the Jim Crow era as well, because there was a lot of discrimination and targeted violence towards Black Americans. But I can also use anecdotal evidence to buttress my point that even without reparations and major oppression that negatively affected Black people, they were able to unify and create multiple Black Wall Streets throughout the country, and that was during the Jim Crow era. Now we're currently in 2026, where pretty much we have equal rights. Yes, there's still a bit of systemic racism that negatively affect Black people, but no one is causing a blockage for them to increase their personal value by obtaining a high school degree and either venturing into a higher education or some type of trade skill that will help them get to the middle class. And let's compare the Jim Crow era till now. There has been a huge uptick in Black millionaires, and so their wealth has increased dramatically. So why Blacks are not able, with equal rights provided to them and more Black millionaires, which equals more resources to unify once again and create multiple Black Wall Streets throughout the country?
Okay. Because systemic discrimination still exists. That's the first thing. First, like we're not going to deny that improvements have been made, right? No one denies that improvements have been made, but despite improvements being made, the systemic discrimination is probably one of the primary factors that still economically and socially and politically hold back African Americans in this country. because we can say that the rights became equal, but the opportunities did not become equal. We see this in the fact that when we actually look into like research into how discrimination happens in this country, we find that one of the things that was found was that black people, black applicants, especially African American applicants, when it comes to the job market, they can have similar qualifications, similar education, similar experience to a white applicant, and they're still less likely to get a job. This was even shown when the black applicant had more experience, more qualifications, and they were still less likely to get the job. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to issues like that, those are one of the problems that hold us back. And when you talk about high school diplomas and stuff like that, you can get a high school diploma, but that doesn't mean that the quality of your education was well, right? Because yeah, sure, I can get a high school diploma right now and still read at a fourth grade level. That's actually an issue across America right now, where people are getting those diplomas, but they're graduating with a sixth grade level of education. That's an issue, isn't it? So it's not just about, everything is equal now, or everything is all good and well. As a matter of fact, MLK himself started saying that just because civil rights passes doesn't mean that everything is equal yet. We still have a massive amount of issues that we need to fix. So it's not just, everything is equal now, therefore black people should be fine. That's not how that works.
So I'm not arguing that there's still minor issues that need to be addressed. My main point is who are stopping Black Americans from venturing into a trade or higher education. And the point that you brought up with people graduating high school and still have a grade 4 level, whose fault is you need to direct that to? Is it the school system or the parents and the student themselves who didn't take accountability to catch up to the prerequisites of graduating high school with the necessary skills needed? And it's not just high school. There's other alternatives where people can self-educate themselves, such as going to the library and choosing specific targets that they want to explore to gain more knowledge. And there's also free education through many online websites that they can take advantage of. They don't just have to rely on a public high school teacher to give them knowledge. They can go over.
So the issue is
the
issue is systemic. It's not just because a lot of times you don't know what you don't know, right? No, you can't finish. A lot of times you don't know. No, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. Correct. So when it comes to hold on, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So it's not just they can just go to the library. A lot of them don't even know that information exists in the library because they're not taught that. Well, for example, let me ask you a question. If you were never taught the color white, would you know what the color white is? No, you wouldn't.
I mean,
right, exactly. You wouldn't know what the color white is if you were never taught what the color white is. Obviously, right?
Okay.
So the issue here is they are just not taught these things. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, when it comes to trade schools, they used to have vocational schools in a lot of these red line areas. When the funding got cut for their education, guess what went first? The vocational schools. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you can say they can just go out and go into and join one of the unions. Number one is not that easy. Just walk into a union and join. It might be like that in your area, right? And if it's that in your area, that's great. But a lot of areas require certain things for you to join them. And not only that, call a spade a spade. A lot of these unions are racist, bro. They're just not going to accept anybody. They're just not going to accept those people. So yeah, I agree with you. These things should change. One of the things we can do with reparations is to add vocational schools back into these red line areas, which is what people advocate for. As a matter of fact, these high schools that are in these red line areas, put vocational schools back into them. So a lot of them don't have to necessarily go off to college. They graduate with the trade. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing stopping them from graduating with that trade. The issue is the information gap. A lot of people just don't know because they're not taught that. And when it comes to the parents, A lot of these parents are working 2 or 3 jobs because guess what? They went through the same education system. So now they're not as educated and they have to do low wage and low skilled jobs as well. So they don't have time to be with their children and teach them certain things, which is why I have point number 2 up there. Leftist policies are better for society because leftist policies would make sure that those things actually do happen, that you actually do get things like parental leave, you do get more sick days, you do get more vacation time, you do get unionized jobs so you can have higher wages and spend more time with your children. You do get walkable cities, you get public transportation so they're not in traffic all the time, et cetera, so they're home on time and to help their children out. All these are systemic problems. It's not just, motherfuckers don't want to teach their kids. That can be an issue, but most of the issue is systemic, not just people is lazy.
I hear you. Now, I wanted to bring up the point with discrimination when it relates to job interviews. Now, doesn't that apply to all races? Because even if there can be a plethora of white individuals applying for the same job and they all have the same skill set, what is going to differentiate them and stand out to get chosen for the job is personality. So pretty much the manager is just like, who can I vibe with more? Now, why is that even a factor in a job interview? So isn't the manager being innately biased and choosing favoritism?
Correct. And
Like and distinctively, and doesn't that apply throughout all races? Whoever applies for the job, it's who's more likable. Who does the manager vibe with more?
Yeah, that's that's biased because if you're gonna say who do I vibe with more, and the person that they vibe with more is always the white guy.
Okay, but let's just hypothetically speaking, let's just say there are 10 white straight Christian males applying for the job, all same skill set. Now, show me the racism in there. My point is that managers innately will choose someone who they vibe with more, even though it's the same skill set all across the board. It depends on the person who kind of like make them feel some type of like importance, or they're super friendly, aka more ass kissing. So that's innately in the job interview process. And it doesn't matter what race you are, you're still gonna be in a disadvantage if you don't implement ass kissing tendencies in that interview. Now I'm finished with that one point. Now for left wing policies, is there a left wing policy that can infiltrate a person's mind who's a low skill worker and don't have the resources to provide for a child to refrain them from fornicating without using a condom or birth control? Can you list one left wing policy that can refrain a low skill, uneducated person from fornicating without using a condom?
Yeah.
And setting offspring in a handicapped position?
Yes, I can.
Whose fault is that?
I
is it
can.
the parent or the
Timothy,
system of government?
Timothy. I've said several times now that I can. Number one, if all the applicants are white Christian men, of course, not going to be any racism there. They're just going to choose with who they vibe with, right? But if all the applicants are a diverse group of people, and we see time and time again that the managerial staff is continually choosing the white man, are you going to tell me that no other ethnic group has ever employed ass kissing or friendly demeanor or anything like that? That would be ridiculous, right? If we see hold on, wait, let me finish. If we see on a consistent basis that this is the same thing that happens over and over and over again, at that point, you just can't claim that that the other people are just not friendly enough. That would be crazy. But the second thing I would say is that what policies can we do to infiltrate the mind? Education. Because you just said lowly educated, right? If we educate them properly, if we give robust sexual education, if we give education on not just contraceptives, but also what sex is, their body parts, etc., a robust sexual education, you'll see the amount of abortions and teenage pregnancies go down, because we've seen this multiple times. Anytime that a community or an area was given robust sexual education, you saw the rates of teenage pregnancy go down. You also saw the rates of abortion go down, because they were better educated. And now, not only that, like I said, if you put more vocations into these high schools, so these students graduate with a trade and they go straight into the workforce, even if they have children at 19, 20 years old, they will still be able to afford them one day.
Okay, and how much money do you think is sufficient to provide for a child? Like, what is your ballpark number? Say if it's a man and a woman in a household, what's the combined income they need to provide for one child?
Nowadays, it's probably like close to $100,000 nowadays. But if we had universal education, universal pre-K, it will go down to probably like maybe 40 or 50,000, because childcare is one of the biggest expenses that causes all these prices to go up.
So you're agreeing with me that, the poor and most of the middle class shouldn't have children because they don't have the resources to provide for them, correct?
What do you mean shouldn't? There's no should or shouldn't.
I mean, like, it's detrimental to the child, setting them back in a handicapped position. If they don't have the resources to provide for a child, wouldn't that automatically make the offspring that they're creating in a handicapped position?
Yeah,
Yes
all of us in a handicapped position except for the 1%.
Oh, okay.
So that means that none of us should have children. That's kind of ridiculous.
I didn't say none. I'm just saying that you need to increase your value until you garner up enough resources to provide for that child.
Not everybody gonna be rich, bro.
Okay.
Not everybody gonna be rich, bro. Not everybody gonna make six figures. There's gonna be someone who's gonna be making $40,000, $50,000 a year, and if they want to have a family, why should we stop that? Because the billionaires
because they have limited resources.
Because the billionaires. Okay, so we should, as a society, we should make sure that everybody has the resources. Then,
how can, as a society, make sure everyone has the resources?
Guaranteed housing, guaranteed housing, paid parental leave, universal education, walkable cities, things like that.
So you want to give people free housing?
I didn't say free housing. I said universal housing. I said guaranteed housing.
Oh, what's the difference between guaranteed housing and free housing? What if someone doesn't have the resources? They're guaranteed a house?
Yeah, we make sure that no one goes homeless.
Okay, so doesn't that mean free housing?
No.
For people who don't have any resources?
No.
How can they afford to live in that house if they don't have any resources to pay for the utilities?
It can be subsidized until they get on their feet. We do it all the time. There's countries that do this already.
Okay. And what is your time limit for them to get on their feet?
We can give them like 3 to 4 years.
So 3 to 4 years of free housing until they get on their feet. Is that correct?
It'll be subsidized. It won't necessarily be free. We have Section 8. Section 8 just works on a lottery system. And we shouldn't work on a lottery system.
And do you have to pay back government subsidies or?
No, you don't. No one ever pays back government subsidies.
So that's free, correct? If you don't have, since it's not a loan.
No, if it's subsidized, that means that the cost of it goes down. Another thing that we can do, as a matter of fact, is get rid of corporate landlords, because corporate landlords are the ones who are driving up the price of housing.
Okay. So let's go back to the job interview, because I wasn't finished with my talking point. Now, it all depends on the certain industry you're talking about.
This is across all industries. Don't even cross over that. This is across all industries. What I brought up about the applicants being black and qualified and still losing out to white applicants, this happens across all industries. Retail, healthcare, tech, all of it. This is across all industries.
So a brain surgeon? They're gonna look.
Even healthcare.
They're gonna factor race. They're gonna factor
Yes.
race for someone
Yes.
applying for a brain surgery,
Yes.
not one.
Yes. Do you
Not
understand?
focusing on the best of the
Let,
best
let me ask you a question.
or
Let me ask you a
pilot.
question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Is racism rational?
It can be.
How can racism be rational? Explain to me how this person has another skin color, therefore they can't do a job. How is that rational?
I mean,
It ain't, bro.
well,
It ain't. It's not, bro. It's not. No, stop. No, stop. It's not. Racism is not rational. All right, it's just not. It's just not. Don't even try to excuse it, bro. Because this is not even a trap question. This was a really layup. This is like actually what's 1 + 1. This was a layup question, bro. You don't have to boliviate and try to get out of it. No, racism is not rational. We both know it. All right, it's not rational to say this person has a different skin color, therefore they're not as smart as me. That's stupid. You know that. All right. It's like, let's stop playing around. So yeah, racism is not rational. So when these people make these type of decisions, they're not making under a rational lens. Yeah, under a rational lens, I'm gonna pick the best person for the job. But if they're looking at it through the lens of racial bias, they're not gonna make a rational decision.
So you're gonna have to break that down on an idiosyncratic level. Let's just use hypotheticals. If I was a white person born into an affluent family worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and throughout my family history, they've only created laureates in different fields. I'm gonna have a skewed version if I go through an area that is poverty stricken and has a huge demographic that's opposite towards my color, and I see the type of culture that is embedded in there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's irrational.
automatically erupt
yeah, I know that's
primitive
irrational.
thinking and think that they're subordinates.
That's irrational
and intellectually inferior.
Yeah,
How
you
is
don't
that
you don't you
irrational
don't you don't have to keep going.
the
That's
financial
irrational.
status?
That's irrational because
How is that
money
irrational when
because money doesn't equal because when you say when you literally brought up I see the culture embedded in it. That's nonsense because I'm trying to explain. That's irrational. If you grow up, I'm trying to explain. If you grow up in a certain culture, yeah, of course. If you grow up in a certain upper echelon, if you grow up a millionaire, yeah, you're not going to understand the world the way everyone else understands, and you're going to have some preconceived notions. That is true. But bias is never rational because just because you live a certain way and the only view that you ever had of another group has always been negative, that does not mean that your view is actually true. It doesn't mean that. That's just logical. Simply saying that this is the only thing I've ever seen, therefore it must be true, is stupid.
Okay. So let's just say it doesn't have to be like an inner city. It could be like a trailer park neighborhood. You take a tour and you see that it's heavily ridden with welfare recipients, people who are not well groomed. They have, very cheap and clothing. There's a huge opiate and meth crisis. You're not going to think that you're superior than them. And you see that their children, haven't excelled in like higher education, and there's been a series of generational curses. You're not going to, automatically think that you're superior than them if you reside in a wealthy family.
Bro, Timothy, are you listening to me? No. I'm not going to think I'm superior to them. No. Sure. Just because they're poor doesn't mean I'm superior. That's silly. That's why I said it's not rational.
So you're not superior than them financially?
Yeah, financially I have
on
more
an equal level. That's
I have more money. That doesn't make me superior.
Okay.
That's stupid.
So that's one. We already checked off different checks on the superior list. So that's superior in the financial terms. Now, how about
I'm not superior. I just have more money.
Degree?
That's it.
Okay, sir. So how about if I'm financially superior? We already checked that off. What about educational level?
Yeah, I have more education. That doesn't make me superior.
Okay. So
I have more education and I have more money.
Superior.
That does not make me superior. Why do you insist on using superior? Why do you insist on using that? I'm not sure why you insist on using superior.
because you're either superior, inferior, or on an equal level. We already just
No, that's
discussed
not how that
that
works. No, that's not how that works.
you're financially superior than them because you have more resources.
Yeah, I
Sorry
have
to
more money.
sugarcoat
That doesn't make me
and
a
use a
superior
different
person.
term to make you more
I
comfortable.
have more money. That does not make me superior to a person in a trailer park. That does not make me superior to them. I have more money than Billy Bob Joe in some trailer park in Alabama. That doesn't make me a superior person. I just have more money than him.
There's different factors of being superior. Yeah, you can be financially superior if you have a higher education.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on, y'all, because that was getting nowhere. We were already at 15 minutes. All right, guys, I appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and keep liking it live and keep sharing it. Keep liking live, keep sharing it. Everybody who's watching me over on the Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate y'all being there. If you would like to talk, go ahead and call in. Anyone who's watching me on Volsy Thoughts on my YouTube channel, you can also call in as well. The number is pinned. The number is pinned, so for anybody who would like to call in, I appreciate y'all. We have another call in.
John.
Hi, John. How's it going? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm 25, and I disagree with the point.
I'm sorry. I'm saying that again. You agree or disagree with one point?
I disagree with a few points.
All right, cool. Go ahead and start where you would like to start with. Which one do you disagree with?
Well, if you don't mind, would you be okay with opening the discussion on the previous caller's claim about I personally wanted to touch on justifiable racism.
Justifiable racism?
Yeah, how you were saying, or what were you saying? It was illogical, or what word were you using?
Racism is irrational. Like there's no way to justify it.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that it is rational, actually, and specifically a few different cases, if you don't mind.
How?
I'll ask you a question. You as a black male, if 14% of the population was white males and just not even males, say white people, and out of that 14% of the population in America being white, 54% of them were committing violent crimes. Do you think that it would be rational to avoid a white person, you as a black male, walking in your city because they statistically commit more crimes, or do you think that would be irrational?
That's irrational.
Okay, I would like for you to defend why you think that would be irrational.
Because a person being white doesn't make them a criminal, does it?
No, but if statistically 54% of the violent crime was committed by white people and they only created 14% of the population, I personally believe that it would be rational for you to avoid that group specifically because of their actions that have been proven statistically.
Okay, so let's turn this around. Let's say my own group also committed a certain amount of heinous crimes. Should I avoid my own group?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's irrational. I have to interact with people, bro. And having a certain skin color doesn't mean the person's going to be a criminal. That's stupid.
Absolutely not. But you are exactly right. As a black male, you
John, listen to my question. Does a person's skin color make them a criminal, no matter what the stats say?
Of course not.
Okay, so avoiding a person just because they have a skin color is stupid. That's irrational.
So
you just know that there's no even argument around here. You already admitted how it's irrational because having a certain skin color doesn't make you a criminal, no matter what a stat says. So saying that therefore I'm going to avoid a person because of this stat over here is ridiculous. It's stupid because there are more than just statistics. You just can't use numbers to say something, right? Because even though a certain group commits 50% of some certain crime, if you look at how many people are in that group, it's statistically a small number of that group commits that crime, right? Let's say like there are 40 million people in that group. However, there are only 1 million arrests. That means that 39 million people are not those people, correct? So that would be it would be stupid to avoid them.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I think we're not finding common ground on this point, which is fine. But the reason I brought up that statistic is because
Black people don't commit
African
54%
Americans,
of violent crimes, bro. They don't.
exactly.
They don't. They don't commit
Well, they
54%
do.
of
There's
violent crimes.
54% of
No, they
violent
don't.
crimes,
No, they
and that's
don't.
based
No,
on the
they don't. Let me
Bloomberg
ask you. Let
report
me
and
ask you.
data census.
Let me ask you. Is grape a violent
I mean,
crime?
these are public reports.
Yeah, I know. Is grape a violent crime?
I'm sorry.
Is grape a violent crime?
Grape? Oh, right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, black people are not the majority of those arrests. Black people are the majority arrest of unalivings, but grape, assault, robberies, those are mostly committed by whites. As a matter of fact, white men represent about 35% of America, but represent about 70% of the child porn arrests. Not just child porn, consumption, but child porn production. So if your logic was true, I should stay away from you. I should keep my children away from you, right? Because even though white men represent only 35% of America, they represent almost 70%, an overrepresentation of not only the consumption, but the production of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're taking one specific point, which I obviously not going to justify child porn, because it is heinous. I agree with that. However, I'm talking about specifically, and also your numbers on great wrong. Population 14% of the population, African, Black, American individuals.
You're breaking up.
30% of the race.
You're breaking up.
So
you're breaking up.
Yeah, so there's 30%. So 46 or 54% of violent crime, and then out of that violent crime, 30% of the rapes are by African American individuals. So
right.
And then you also made the point
I didn't, hold on, wait, because you keep
on.
Stop. Listen.
Wait, you're not gonna let me
You keep
finish?
saying, hold on, because I need to correct you. You keep saying violent crimes. Black people don't represent 50% of all violent crime. That's untrue.
Yes, they do.
No, it's not. It's only for murder. It's not for all violent crimes.
That's not true. Why will you not?
Black people are not 54% of rape, bro. Black people are not 54%.
No, they're 30%.
Hold on, stop. Yeah, 30% of rape, but not 54%. You said all violent crime. They're not. You're just wrong.
No,
that 54%. Hold on. Listen.
30%.
Hold on. Listen. Stop. Listen. Black people represent 54% of the arrest of murder, not for rape, not for assault, not for robberies. Murder. That's the only one. There's also violent arson. You know violent arson, right? Arson with the intent to hurt somebody else. Almost 60% of that is white men. So when you say they represent, hold on, stop. When you say 54% of all violent, stop. When you say 54% of all violent crimes, you're just wrong. It's only murder. Murder is the only one.
Okay.
Everything else we don't overrepresent in that. And murder has several reasons for that. Not only that, you also have to take into account that black men represent over 50% of exonerations for that same crime, for murder. We represent 54% of the exonerations for it. So when if we represent 54% of the arrests and then represent 50% of the exonerations, what does that tell you?
Yeah, I understand. Can I reply now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you concede on your claim that it's 54% of the murders, because this is from the 2025 UCR data report. This is from Bloomberg, Beautify Data, and U.S. Data Census. According to the FBI arrest data compiled of violent crime offenses, which includes murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, 52.6% were Black or African American. Even though creating 14% of the population, that's all violent crime. That's not just murder.
Where'd you get that from?
4 different reports there. So would you concede?
Where'd you get it from?
Beautify Data, Bloomberg, and U.S. data, our data.
What did you look up, actually?
I said, what percentage of the violent crimes by race?
Give me 1 second.
So let's, we gotta just get our facts straight.
Hold on. All right. So I just went up, looked up FBI crime statistics by race. Let's see.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, overall arrests. Let's see. All right, so overall arrests, whites made up 69% of arrests, black individuals 27% of arrests, Hispanics 19% of arrests. Violent crimes, white individuals accounted for 59% of violent crime arrests. Black individuals made up 51% of murder arrests. Homicide 2020, black individuals were significantly more likely to be homicide victims. So yeah,
I know
this is
you're
something I just
looking at,
Googled.
yeah, and that's by other blacks first off, and then you're also looking at
Yeah, we
murder
know that.
statistic. I'm asking you to look at the violent crime statistic.
Yeah, violent crimes. White individuals accounted for 59% of violent crime arrests.
Okay, and what percentage was black or African American of violent crimes?
It doesn't say. Matter of fact, I'll bring up the table. Give me a second. Let's see. Actually, this one is from 2019. Let me see if I can go ahead and look up the one from recently. Let's look up 2024.
Yeah, it's definitely increased since then.
Actually, it says that we face higher. We're actually disproportionately targeted for hate crimes, or 50%. Wow.
Okay, but we're not talking about hate crimes. Yes, hate crimes happen. I agree. It's bad.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. All right, arrest violent crimes. White individuals made up the majority, 53%.
Yes,
that's from the
correct,
Brookings.
because we are the majority.
That's from
of
the
country.
Brookings. Hold on, that's from the Brookings institution as well. So hold on, you said that that for all violent crime, and when I looked up for all violent crime, it said that white people are the majority, not black people.
That would make sense to be the majority because we are proportionately.
But you just said black people were the majority of violent crimes, according to what I just looked up from the Brookings institution. Something that you brought up, it said white people were the majority.
Where are you reading that? Because mine right here says.
All right. In a report published the same year, the victims of violent crime, 60% are white, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Furthermore, more recent data indicates that 53% of Furthermore, the recent data indicates that 53% of those arrested for violent crimes were white, while 25% were black and 14% were Hispanic. Now, a lot of Hispanics themselves are white. So the one for whites could even go up further.
Hispanics are white.
Hispanics are white. You gonna tell me Marco Rubio is not a white guy?
Being Hispanic.
Most Hispanics look like Marco Rubio, bro. They're white.
Okay, I'm not talking about skin color. I'm talking about their race.
They're white.
European white Caucasians.
Are you gonna tell me that Marco Rubio is not a white guy? Ted Cruz ain't a white guy. Come on, man. The motherfuckers is white, bro. They're white.
They have white DNA, of course, but
they're European, bro. They're white. If you look up where their DNA is definitely gonna say Spain. They're white, bro.
Exactly, they're Hispanic.
Spain is in Europe. What are you saying?
Oh my god, dude.
If you look up Marco Rubio's, if you look up people like people like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, their ancestry is gonna come from Spain. Spain is in Europe.
Okay, so that's like
Hispanic is a culture, is not a race, my friend.
You know what albinism is?
Hispanic is not a culture. It's a hold on. Hispanic is not is a culture. It's not a race.
Are you serious, dude?
Yes.
Hispanic is a race.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
You realize there are black people who are Hispanic, right?
So you're saying like a white albino African is white because they're
no, that's not what I said. It's not what I said.
You just said Marco Rubio is a white guy.
He is a white guy because if you actually look up his ancestry, it comes from Spain. That's a white guy. A black albino person, they're gonna have a black albino person from Nigeria. They're going to have black features. They're gonna look like me, just with no melanin in their skin. Marco Rubio don't look like me.
Okay, so what you're saying here is because they're from Spain, they're white.
Yeah, Spain is in Europe. What the fuck are we talking about? Spain is in Europe. Spain famously is in Europe, my guy.
Do you think every European country is created by white people?
Yeah.
Okay, so is Elon
Italians are white.
American?
Italians are white. No, Elon Musk is white because he's Dutch.
But he's
an Afrikaner. Afrikaners are white. Afrikaners themselves will tell you they're white because they're from Dutch. Okay, they're from the Netherlands or England or from Germany. They're white.
Okay, I can see. Marco Rubio's a white guy. Okay.
Yeah, and most Hispanics look like him. So the one for white will actually go up higher.
Do you think that we have innate moral value?
What does that mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Because you were like really dead set on not being superior, like the trailer trash guys. You're like, well, I'm not superior to them,
No, I'm not
right?
superior to them.
Okay, so they have moral value, and they're it's the same moral value as you are.
Yeah, yeah. Humans have value. I agree.
Oh, okay. Where does our value come from? Our innate moral value.
It comes from ourselves.
So we create moral value
Yes,
as a society.
as a society. Yes,
So if we as a society decide that disabled don't have the same moral value because they're not contributing to our society, do we have the right to kill them?
I have no idea what you just said.
If we decide as a society, the same way that they did in Nazi Germany, that disabled people, because they can't contribute in the same manner to our society, are of less innate moral value, can we kill them?
No, I think that's wrong.
Why?
Because they still are a human being. They still have conscious experience.
So they have innate moral value.
They have moral value to me. Yes,
Okay, where does our moral value come from?
it comes from our empathy.
From our what?
Our empathy. The reason why Hitler was able to do what he did in Germany is because he was able to convince people to not have empathy for the Jews. That's how he was able to do that. So the moment that we have empathy, like that goes away. None of us are going to do what you said.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense about if they have moral value, because it's the same way of like that back in the medieval times when people would pillage nations and kill all the people that weren't fit to work. They believed that they were doing justice because there was no innate moral value there.
Correct, because they didn't have empathy for those people.
Okay, exactly. My point is that this is where I would bring God into the consideration, because one of your points is, why should I believe in your God? I believe that we're all created equal in the image of God, and that God gives us our innate moral value. But you're saying that we as a society created because of empathy.
Yes.
Okay, but where does empathy come from?
Evolution. We evolved it.
We evolved to have empathy.
Yes, because we're a social species. All social species have some sort of empathy.
Why aren't humans the only animal on Earth that has empathy?
We're not.
Okay, what other animals have empathy?
Elephants, dolphins, dogs, cats, mice.
So
sometimes
if I
even
were to put
chickens.
my dog in a room with a mouse, it would kill it and eat it to shreds. Why doesn't it have empathy for the mouse?
No, a dog won't eat it. A cat will eat it.
Yeah, so why doesn't my cat or dog have empathy for the mice?
Because cats are carnivores and mice are their prey. But cats have empathy. Yeah, but cats have empathy for each other, and they have empathy for you.
So we should only have empathy for other humans.
Most we have a human bias. Yeah, most of our empathy is for other humans. We consider we typically consider human beings before we consider all of the animals. If it was a choice between you, even though like I don't know who you are, but if someone said, hey, either shoot Tom or shoot a cow, I'm gonna shoot the cow.
Yeah, but you see how this doesn't make sense without God? Because if we have empathy, it's just something that we have for creation, and we evolved from creation, and specifically Darwinism, evolution from fish, then
it makes 100% sense.
In that theory, if we evolved to have empathy for all animals.
All right, it makes 100% sense.
And me should have the same moral value.
It makes 100% sense, because the reason it makes sense is because I didn't grow up in a society with cows. I grew up in a society with you. So of course I'm going to have empathy. Hold on, listen. My society is not with cows. My society is with other humans. Cows are just a peripheral of my society. They're my food, but you're not my food. You're another person that understands theory of mind. You're another person who looks like me. When we were all evolving in the African Sahara, we had to get along with our neighbors, the people who are going to be part of our troop, part of our society. If I antagonize them or try to eat them, that's not a good way for us to survive, is it? So of course we had to provide. Yeah, exactly. So we had to develop empathy. So my society isn't with cows, it's with you. That's why I have more empathy for you than I have for the cow.
Yeah, but you would see like how, let's say an animal rights activist would disagree and say, well, no, they have the same moral value as us.
Yes, yeah. And for a large part, they're actually
even though
right.
they grew up in their society and evolved to have empathy for their
Yeah.
their
No,
other
agreed.
community.
Agreed. Yeah, they would say, like, what I'm saying is that on the base human level, we have more empathy for other humans than we do have for other animals, non-human animals, right? Because that's just the way it is. But someone who's an animal rights
that's not
activist,
right, because
someone who's an animal rights activist would say that we need to consider all the other creatures, all the other animals. And for a lot of part, they're right. I would consider empathy for my cat, right? I don't want my cat to get hurt, right? I just want to throw my cat into traffic, right? But if someone say push a human into traffic and push a cat into traffic, guess what I'm choosing?
Yeah, that's personal to you, though.
Yeah, it is. That's how that's how it is.
True.
I mean, even with you, it's personal to you. I think all humans operate the same way I operate.
An objective truth. I believe that it's objectively true that humans have innate moral value.
Okay, sure. How do you show that to be true?
God, and that's true. But your point is not objectively true, because there are other people that would say, "Well, I grew up and
right."
In your
okay,
belief,
so my question is how do you show what you said to be true? And we have a minute and 30 seconds left. So how do you show what you say to be true?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How do you show what you said to be true?
Through evidence.
What's the evidence that human beings have objective moral value? Because the only thing you said is God, and you can't really prove God.
Yeah, I'll give you evidence of God.
Okay, what's the evidence of God?
So you look at the latter. It's either that there is a supernatural creator outside of space and time.
I didn't ask for a philosophical cute argument. I asked for evidence. What's the evidence that there's a God?
Yeah, that's why I'm going to give you evidence.
Yeah, a philosophical argument is not evidence of anything. Do you have some sort of peer-reviewed paper? You have some sort of empirical data? What do we have?
Okay, so I believe that there's one true God, the Christian God, Jesus Christ. Okay. Jesus Christ was a human that lived. Can we agree on that?
Jesus Christ was a human that lived.
Okay. So the evidence supports that he was a real person, and I take the Bible, specifically the original Greek manuscripts, as historical text. And if that historical text is true, based on the witnesses, based on the things that happened in that time, then Jesus Christ was either a liar, he was crazy, or he was who he claimed to be. Okay. So I look at the evidence of the Bible and the historical text.
Okay, so here's the problem. Here's the problem.
What came out of Rome.
Here's the problem.
Take that as true.
Here's the problem. Just because some text said something doesn't make it true, because we can't go back in time and see Jesus walk on water. So we have no idea. Hold on. We can't go back in time and see Jesus walk on water. So we have no idea of what they actually wrote there is actually true. How do you prove Jesus actually did that? We just can't assume he did.
We have the text and the witnesses, and the same thing I would ask to you as well. How do we know that Julius Caesar was a real person?
Because we have his coins. Because hold on, let me finish. Let me ask you. Let me tell you. We know Julius Caesar was a real person because we have his coinage, we have his writings, we have people who actually witnessed them, et cetera, et cetera. So we know Jesus. Hold on, we know Jesus is true for the same reason, but we don't have any evidence to show that what they did was anything he did was supernatural, because there are supernatural stories of Julius Caesar as well, but we don't believe those, do we?
What supernatural stories of Julius Caesar?
They said that Julius Caesar was the son of Jupiter.
Oh, you're talking about Greek mythology?
Yeah, they said that he was a son of Jupiter, but that's not actually true, is it? Because Jupiter doesn't exist. At least not the god. The planet exists.
What did Julius Caesar do to prove himself to be that? Jesus Christ did many miracles and many things.
And how do you know that? How do you know that's true? How do you know that he did those things?
There was witnesses and it was documented. The same way that we know Julius Caesar was a real person because of the coinage in the text.
All right, but the thing is, just because a document says something supernatural happened doesn't mean something supernatural actually happened. I could give you another example of a Greek. Hold on, listen, wait, listen, hold on, wait, listen. I can give you another example, right? There's a Greek text called the Iliad. In the Iliad, it says that Zeus and Aphrodite intervened in the Battle of Troy. Are we going to say that Zeus and Aphrodite are real just because it says so in a Greek text?
How many witnesses were there?
They said that there were thousands of witnesses, like all of the Greek soldiers saw Zeus come from the heavens and intervene in the battle. Are you going to believe that?
I've never read that, so I don't have an opinion on it.
Exactly. So like the thing is, I read the Iliad when I was in high school. I thought everybody did, but you know, high schools are different. But I read the Iliad when I was in high school, and it literally says that Zeus intervened in the battle and all the Greek soldiers saw it. You don't believe in Zeus. So why would we take any supernatural document into consideration? For example, Spider-Man #1 says that Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider and now he has superpowers. You don't believe that just because it's written.
Yeah, but it was written as fiction. There's a difference.
All right. So
Your
do you
better
believe?
argument
Hold on.
is
Do
the
you
one
hold on?
about
So do
Zeus.
you believe in Red Riding Hood then?
Say that again?
Red Riding Hood was written hundreds of years ago, and it says that wolves can talk. Do you believe that?
It was written as fiction
What Red Riding Hood? It was written as allegory. So how do you know that that the Bible wasn't written as allegory?
because it wasn't claimed to be.
No, Jesus claimed to talk in parables all the time.
Yeah, he talked in parables, but he claimed that exactly what he says was objectively true.
I know he claimed that, but just because he claimed that
Red
doesn't
Riding
make
Hood
it
wasn't claimed to be true or written in objective reality.
Red Riding Hood was claimed to was written as an allegory. What I'm asking you is, how do you know that the Bible itself also wasn't written as an allegory or as historical fiction? How do you tell the difference?
It wasn't claimed to be written as an allegory. That's
just because it wasn't claimed to be written as an allegory doesn't mean that it wasn't actually written as an allegory. We could just lost the original meaning, the original text. Like for example, the Epic of hold on. For example, the Epic of Gilgamesh was also written as an allegory. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, Noah is there, right? And Noah's in the Bible. So we know that story of Noah is actually written as an allegory, but it made it to the Bible.
How many people died for Red Riding Hood?
Irrelevant. That's not my point, bro. It doesn't matter if how many people died for it. The point is, how do we actually show it to be true?
If they died for it, correct?
Just because they died for it doesn't make it true. Otherwise, Mormonism would be true because people died for that too.
I know. I'm not asking that. I'm saying people believed it to be true, specifically during the time of Jesus.
Believing it to be true does not make it true.
So someone like Paul that lived, or even Peter that lived among Jesus, okay, and went all the way to the
Paul
point
never
of
met
dying
Jesus, bro.
for not denouncing it. Do you think that they believed that what they saw Jesus do was true?
Paul never met Jesus, bro. And yeah, they died for what they believe is true. I agree. They did die for what they believe is true. But just because they died for it believing it doesn't make it true. Otherwise, Mormonism is true.
Yeah, but I'm saying people that lived with Jesus, Peter specifically, I said Paul, but I meant Peter, specifically that lived with Jesus and saw his miracles and saw what he did and died for it. Do you think that he was deceived? Do you think that like he was high on acid and like what did he see that made him die for that?
He was high.
He was high?
Yeah, he was high. Matter of fact, we don't even know what happened to Peter for real, because what happened? All the stories of the disciples that only comes from church tradition. We don't have any other evidence outside of the church of what happened. It's only church tradition.
That's the original Greek manuscripts that were during the church.
The original Greek manuscripts were written by Paul.
Exactly. No, not all of them. There's 5,000.
Which ones?
All of them were written by Paul.
All right, so there are 5,000. How do we verify that these are genuine?
Because it was written by people that these were stories were passed to.
Yeah. Who do we go to? Like, how do we?
Associates of the disciples. There was many of them.
Associates of the disciples. So just motherfuckers who claiming to know
shit.
Family members. Huh? They never even mentioned any family members of these disciples, bro.
Yeah, literally Luke, the whole book of Luke was written by associates of Luke.
The person who wrote Luke, was just getting like third hand.
There was multiple people.
Yeah, exactly. That's you don't see the problem there. Multiple people wrote Luke. You don't see the issue there.
No, because it was multiple people that had a direct source to him.
Right. But how do you know that? How do you know they had direct source? We can't verify that. These could be third hand, fourth hand sources. It could just be one guy claiming to hear from another guy. There's no way to verify where those sources came from. The most we have is that Jesus was a guy, Paul was a guy, his disciples were probably real, and that he was a preacher going around saying that Rome is going to fall and my kingdom is going to come in its place. So the Romans executed him for being an enemy of the state. That's most of what we
Yeah,
have.
but you're cherry picking. That's not exact. That's not specific. He said those things, but he also claimed to be God. He claimed to be
So
able to
what? Just because he
sins
claimed
on
doesn't make
earth.
it true.
He claimed to do miracles. So you're saying like you're nitpicking, like, oh well, he was killed because he was a preacher.
Right,
Like, no,
right. I understand that he claimed to.
God.
I understand that he claimed to have miracles. That doesn't make it actually true. We're actually out of time, bro. I got to go ahead and get out of here. But I do appreciate your time. You have a wonderful night. All right, I appreciate you. Have a good day. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and keep it moving. I do appreciate everybody who's here. You can call in if you like. I have lots and lots of bigots in my comments over on YouTube, but all of them are afraid to call in because, of course, they pussy. So because all the cowards are in my YouTube comments, not y'all deconstruction junction. I'm talking about my personal channel on YouTube. My personal channel on YouTube, the Volsy Thoughts, I have lots and lots of bigots there, you know, but they don't want to call in because, of course, they pussy. So everyone drop a cat emoji for all the cowards in the in my YouTube chat who don't want to call in. Yeah, because you know they're always afraid to call in. But I do appreciate you all being here. I do have a gift goal. You can always call in. You can always call in. I appreciate y'all being here. Please call in and we can go ahead and get this popping and get it moving. Got a whole bunch of cat emojis for all the cowards and over on my on YouTube. My YouTube is Volsy Thoughts. The same thing as my TikTok. Volsy Thoughts. That's my YouTube. Yeah, Chad, you can go ahead and come up. I'll send you an invite, Chad. All right, Chad, I went ahead and sent you an inbox, all right? All right, Chad, how's it going? We got the countdown on going. Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm 26, bro. It's been a minute since I talked to you. Do I disagree? America was never great. I disagree. The elective policies are really better for society. Iffy. Reparations for Black Americans. Are you for reparations for Black Americans or against reparations for Black Americans?
I'm for.
Oh, for, yeah, okay. I agree with that. Why should I believe in your God? I have a different ideology of God, so we got a debate on that. Faith is unreliable. Yes, faith is unreliable. Trump is the president of peace.
Trump is not the president of peace.
Trump is not the president. Okay, I don't disagree. Three prompts: reparations, faith, and Trump. I don't disagree with those three.
All right, cool.
Others I'm kind of iffy about.
All right, cool. So yeah, I don't think America was ever great because we never actually lived up to our never lived up to our what was that thing called again? Our standards of, you know, liberty and justice for all. We never actually apologized for what we did to the Native Americans and fixed that situation. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for, potential. We never actually lived up to our potential. We never as a matter of fact, in many cases, we fight against opportunity for all. Like some of my last guests who just deny that you know, there's not equal opportunity in this country. So for those reasons, that's why I think America was never great.
I do think America is great, and I'm gonna say why. Mm-hmm. It's understandable that what the founding fathers proclaimed to be the aim for the standard of greatness that we wanted to achieve was never actually lived up to. But the core values of what America undermines has been achieved. Gotcha. You know what I mean? If we look at it
Chad, give me one second, Chad.
What Americans?
Chad, hold on, Chad, give me one second.
Founding fathers.
Chad, give me one second.
No problem.
All right, caller, how you doing, caller? I'm sorry, what was your name?
Hey, what's good, man? Trini J.
Tony J.
No,
Jay,
Trini J. Trini J.
Trini J. All right, Jay, how's it going, Jay? Are you at least 18 and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, sure. I agree with everything. I just had a question. about I don't understand what you mean by like why should I believe in your God
Okay,
or
gotcha.
like the faith part. That's all I got.
Okay,
Because I
gotcha.
agree with everything else though.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Hold on for me real quickly. I just gotta go ahead and finish off with Chad.
Sure.
All right, so
Okay, sure.
all right, so Chad, you said that you think America is great because of. Can you repeat that one more time, please? You there, Chad? Chad, unmute yourself, please. You can go ahead and unmute now.
Because
All right, now you're breaking up. You're in the matrix, Chad. All right, Chad, I'm gonna have to ask you to drop for a second and come back up. We'll talk to you in a second. All right, Chad, go ahead and come back up when you're in a better area. All right, so you said that you wanted to understand what I mean by why should I believe in your God?
Oh yeah, indeed. I didn't know like why because it doesn't. I think it doesn't mix with the rest of the questions. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the statement. So I was like wondering why. Like, what do you mean? Why should I believe in your God or faith is unreliable?
What I mean by that are just those are basically just those my religious questions because I am a non-believer.
Okay.
I'm an atheist. So
Okay.
when I say basically why should I believe in your God, that's really the question. Why should I believe in any type of God but belief? And I don't think faith is reliable for us because a lot of people say just goes on faith, but I don't think faith is reliable.
Oh, okay. All right. So why don't you believe in God? Like any God?
I don't have any evidence that is true.
But do you have any evidence it's not true?
Like what
You know
I
what
mean, you can't prove a negative. So
well, what I'm saying is you say you don't have any evidence it's not true. That you have no evidence that it's true, right? So I'm saying, do you have any evidence that it's not true?
No, but that's not how belief works.
Yeah, if you don't believe something is real, then you have to believe that it's unreal, right? That you have to have some type of evidence.
No, that's not how that works.
Then tell me how it works.
Simply not believing in something doesn't mean that you believe that it's false. You just don't believe that it's true.
Well, if you believe it's false, then you don't believe it's true.
Right.
Right?
If you think that what they're saying is false,
right.
if you believe if you believe something is false, then yeah, you don't believe that it's true. But you don't have to necessarily believe something is false to not believe it.
Yeah, but when I asked you, I said, why don't you believe in God? You said because you don't believe in him, right? You don't believe he exists, right?
Right. I said I don't have any evidence that is true, so there's no reason to believe it.
Right, evidence. So I'm saying, but since you said evidence, I'm just saying, do you have any evidence that it's not true, that he doesn't exist?
No, but that's not how
so
that
there
works.
Is no so there is no evidence. Well, what I'm saying is there is no evidence or proof that there is no God, right? That's just a belief.
No, it's not a belief. Non-belief is not a belief, bro.
Then how do you? What are the facts that you have that he doesn't exist? Like, what do you present?
I'm not saying that he doesn't exist. I'm not saying that that people who say that he does have not proven that he does. So I don't believe their claim.
No, but I'm saying you're saying that you don't believe there's evidence, right? That's what you told me.
Right. I don't have evidence to believe this thing. But that at that point, it's not up to me to come up with evidence that is not true. The person who believes it and said that it is true, they're the ones who have to show me the evidence that it is true.
No, so I'm asking you. I'm asking you what evidence that you have that basically you're saying that it's not true.
Well,
right?
Like which God are we talking about?
Whatever God, man. I mean, whatever. You say you don't believe in God, so God is like universal, right? God is period, right?
Right. I said I
you don't believe in God.
I said I don't believe in any gods.
So you don't believe in a higher power, supreme being.
No, I don't.
Correct?
I don't have any evidence that that's true.
But
I don't need to come up with. Hold on. Listen,
right.
Jay.
Okay.
I don't need to come up with evidence that is not true for me to not believe it. That's silly.
But how can you believe something is not true if you can't prove it?
I didn't say I believe that is not true. I said I don't believe that it is true.
Is not true and is true is two different things?
Yeah, that's two different things.
How?
All right. I can say what you're saying is not true. I believe what you're saying is not true. That's one thing, right? Now, if you claim, say, hey, I have a pink dragon in my garage, I can literally say I don't believe that. Those are two different claims. Saying I don't believe that is not saying what you said is not true. Those are two different sentences.
Okay, so you're saying you don't believe there's evidence that you. So you're saying that.
No, I said I don't have evidence that it is true.
You don't have evidence that it
is
exists.
True. And
right?
it exists. Yeah, I don't have any
exists.
evidence that any type of supernatural or gods exist. So I just simply don't believe it. Now, if it is true, sure, provide evidence that it is true, but no one has yet. It's not up to me to find evidence that is not.
Right. So that's what I was asking. Like, what evidence do you need to like when someone says like I don't believe in God, right? I don't have any evidence. So what evidence are they looking for? Like what you, not they, but what evidence do you look for?
Something that there
is a God.
Something that's repeatable,
that's tangible, that you can see, that you can feel.
Yeah, something that's repeatable, demonstrable. Something that we can that has some sort of data.
Okay. So you don't believe creation was created by God?
What do you mean by creation?
You're created, right? You're a created being. The universe is created.
Wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by created?
What I'm saying is you don't have evidence. What I'm saying is creation, right? You don't believe that creation was created by God. So that's not evidence.
Hold on, Jay. Right? You're just repeating yourself. When you say creation,
no, I'm not. Listen to what I'm saying. Yes, you are.
Hold on, wait, hold on. I am listening. When I asked you what do you mean by that, you said creation. And when I asked you what does that mean, you said, oh, everything is created, creation. You're just repeating yourself. What do you say? Hold on, listen, wait. Listen.
I said creation. You're a creation,
I understand, right?
You're a created being.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? What it means? You're created. The universe
what does
is
that,
created.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on, Jay, hold on. That's what I mean when you say that you're repeating yourself. When you say that the universe
came into existence.
So existence is creation. That's what you're saying. You're trying to equalize existence and creation. Something existing.
So how do you think the universe exists? You don't feel it. Let me ask you a question. Do you think you exist?
Of course, I exist.
Sitting in the chair right now?
Hold on, Jay. Listen to me. Listen what I'm saying. Existence and creation are two different things. Because something can exist.
I'm asking you.
Hold on, Jay. Let me just finish, bro. Let me just finish real quick. There's a difference between saying something is created and something exists. Because created implies something deliberate, right? It was deliberately placed here. Like, for example, this phone was created, right? Because we know that someone deliberately made this. But rain also exists, right? Rain exists, but it's not deliberate. It's just a consequence of chemistry and physics. So rain exists. Let me just finish this. Rain exists, but it's not created. We can say that it's created in a basically esoteric sense, like because water evaporates, etc. Therefore, clouds quote unquote create rain. You can say that. Hold on, wait. Listen, you can say that, right? But the way that you're using creation, I'm sure that's what I'm trying to pinpoint. What do you mean?
Okay, forget created and exists.
Hold on, listen. Wait. Let me just finish. Now, that's why I was trying to pinpoint. Right. Jay, listen. That's why I was trying to pinpoint exactly what you mean. Do you mean something deliberate, or do you mean something that just exists?
Okay, let me rephrase it. Since you on the creation existence thing, let me rephrase it. Okay. You see the planets, right? You see the universe, yes or no? You believe we live in the universe. How do you believe that we got here? How do you believe that the universe got here?
A consequence of physics and chemistry, bro. Like that's what it is. Like the universe.
Right, but wait a minute. Consequence of physics. Okay, fine. So let me ask you. You believe that that's absolute? That's the absolute way that the universe was created and that human beings became existent, right?
Right now, I don't have any. Right now, I don't have any evidence of anything else.
You don't have any evidence of everything else, right?
There's no evidence of anything else.
Okay, right. Okay. So what I'm saying is you don't believe in a higher power, in a supreme being. That's what I'm getting to you.
Right. I've been to that from the beginning. I don't have any evidence of that.
Right. So right. Okay. So you saying that the universe was created by mathematics, right?
That's not what I said.
So how do you believe the universe was created?
The universe came into existence from the expansion of a hot dense state. We don't have any other evidence besides that.
What?
An expansion of space-time from a hot dense state. And when we say hot dense state, when we say singularity, that's at a point where our understanding of physics breaks down at that point. We don't know where that hot dense hot dense state came from or how to explain it.
That's my
The only
point.
way we can
You said
explain is a
exactly
hot
what
dense
I'm
state.
talking about.
Right.
So there's
So
no
expansion
evidence
of
of where
space-time.
that came from. We don't.
Right.
We don't know
where
where
it
that
from.
came from.
Right.
Right.
We don't know where it came from. Right. So it's
Okay.
it's an expansion of space-time, and we're not sure
Right.
what caused that expansion of space-time. We just don't know.
I agree. I agree with that. But what I'm getting at is that we don't know where that came from. Our mind and our education on things are limited, right? We can do all the math that we want. We can have all the theories that we want, but we don't know
Yeah,
for
we
a
don't.
fact.
Yeah,
We don't know.
Yeah,
right?
we don't know what caused the expansion of space-time. We don't know.
Right. Okay. So I agree with that. So what I'm saying is, even though you believe that there is no God, that there's no proof, the expansion in space of time, we still don't know because there's no proof. There's no empirical proof because our thoughts and our minds are limited. We can't go beyond past a certain point.
Right.
Right?
So that's actually wrong. We do know that space and time is expanding. Space time is expanding. That's evident. We have evidence of that. What we don't have evidence for, or what we don't know at a certain point, is why did the Big Bang happen? We don't know why that happened.
We don't know the beginning.
Right. The beginning of all the cosmos,
so that's
we don't
my
know.
point. We don't know the beginning.
Right. We don't know.
Okay, so we don't know the beginning, right? But you still believe in the mathematics, right? You still believe in that theory, but you still don't know the beginning.
What are you getting at? I'm not sure what you're getting at.
What I'm getting at is you say that you don't believe in a higher power because there's no evidence, right?
Right. There's no evidence.
There is no. Listen to what I'm saying, brother. There is no evidence past the point where we can understand, right?
I need you to land your plane, bro. Where exactly are you getting at?
What I'm getting at is we don't know the beginning, right? So there is no evidence, right? There's no evidence of how it actually started, correct?
Bro, what are you getting at? I just need you to get there, bro. Like, what are you trying to say?
You just
because
said,
hold on,
you just laid
because
out,
hold on, so yeah, hold on, wait,
believed.
hold on. Let me just try to get there. Yeah,
right.
We have no idea where the hot dense state came from, what caused the Big Bang, what's the singularity. We have no clue. We have no idea. So what?
All right. So what I'm trying to say is, I understand what you're saying. Understand. So because we have no idea, right? You cannot rule out, or does that does not mean, right, that it could not have been created by a supreme being, right?
Right. So what's the evidence of it?
Well, you can't have no evidence because we don't know.
Right. So why should I believe?
Okay. So what I'm saying is, because we don't know does not mean that the supreme being does not exist.
Correct.
Right. Because we have to have a belief. We have to have a belief.
Jay, right? I already said that. Just because we don't have any evidence that a supreme being exists doesn't mean that a supreme being doesn't exist. That is correct.
So this is what I'm trying to get. So I'm trying to get an understanding. Okay, I understand what you're saying. So I'm trying to get an understanding. So just because we believe that he doesn't does not mean that he does not exist. Correct? Did I say that right?
Right. Just because we don't have any, just because. Right. So just because they're hold on, let me finish. So when it comes to the beginning of the universe and all the cosmos and the Big Bang and everything like that, we don't have any evidence to suggest that it was not some supreme being. So we can't completely rule out the supernatural, right? That's what you're trying to say. We can't 100% rule out the supernatural. Sure, to be philosophically correct, we can't 100% rule out the supernatural. But so what?
I see where you're going now. This is what I wanted to get at. I was a little confused. I understand what you're saying, but even though, because we cannot rule out the supernatural, he could or couldn't, he or she, whatever it is, we don't know. I give a figures because we're human beings, so we say he or she. But the supernatural being, we cannot rule it out. But because we do not know and we do not have empirical evidence that supernatural being exists, then you don't believe in it.
There's no reason There's no reason to believe that.
Okay. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, correct?
It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We just don't have a reason to believe it.
Okay. But it could exist. But
it could.
But you don't believe it because there is no evidence that it does exist.
Correct.
Empirical evidence means that evidence that you can see, right?
Right. Correct. Just like
not
dragons,
fake, but empirical.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
It's like dragons.
Dragons could exist. It ain't no thing. Okay, I got it. All right. All right. Because the reason I was asking is because most people that believe in God, whatever God they believe in, there is no empirical evidence, right? But they believe in it by faith, right? They call them a spirit, right? Spirit, faith. that there is no, you can't touch him, you can't feel him, you can't see him, right? But they believe that that supreme being exists, right? Through faith, through spirituality, right?
Yeah. So.
Oh, so what I was getting at is, because I'm trying to get, like, I'm trying to understand the atheist point of view. So because, let's say I believe in God and I believe in him, although I never seen him, but spiritually I have faith, right? That he exists. You're not saying that he doesn't exist. You're saying that you won't believe that is because you don't have no evidence
I don't
that
have
he
any evidence. Correct.
actually exists. Okay.
Correct.
All right. That's cool. I got you. I got you. All right, man. Everything's good, man. Everything's good. I just wanted to see. I wanted to get a better understanding, because when I look at these atheists on there, I don't really get a good understanding. They don't really explain to me. You know what I'm saying? I understand where I understand exactly what you mean when you went into the beginning of time. You understand what I'm saying? When you explain to it. So now I know like where your mental, where your thoughts are. So there's no wrong with that, man. You
All
know what I
right.
mean?
Cool. I
But
appreciate you.
everything else, I believe it, man. You know what I'm saying?
All
Yeah,
right.
bro.
Cool. Gotcha. Appreciate you,
Have
man.
a blessed day, man. You know what I'm saying? Be easy, man.
All right, guys. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate all the callers. Shout out to, again, the Deconstruction Junction. You guys are wonderful. If you would like to speak with me, go ahead and call in. There's someone over on my YouTube, Sean. Go ahead and call in. Whoever is there, go ahead and call in. Sean and all you guys, go ahead and call in. All right. So Chad, yeah, go ahead and come up again, because you had an issue with your Wi-Fi. So go ahead and come up again, please. All right, Chad, how's it going?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi definitely cut out. I'm good, man.
Not a problem,
I
Sean.
just heard about what you were saying earlier about the explanation of God and the explanation of not understand if he was real or not. So if you were saying earlier that the explanation for the creation of existence is the expanding of the gaseous state that we were in, and a expanding of time and space, right? An explosion of time and space that created everything that exists now, right?
Right.
But there are temperaments in thinking. And this is something I've had to think about as well. Because if we can say there are known knowns and known unknowns, right? We can't use the known knowns to explain the known unknowns, because at a certain point, the known unknowns cannot be explained by the known knowns, right? So if we understand that science itself cannot explain, because even science dictates that there must be a proper action, and then there's a reaction to the action taken. So before the gaseous state and time space came into the continuum, there had to be something previous to that, which started it off for it to expand and time space to be created, right? So if not God, there must be a force, a structure, which was in place to create this space and time continuum, right? So this would be the explanation, I believe, for God, a being, a force, something that could create it, right? And all religions have one thing in common.
Right. So when it comes to this force or anything like that people claim like to claim, right? For me, what I think it implies is that space-time must have always existed, right, in some way or form that we can't explain right now with our current physics, like, because the hot dense state needed to come from somewhere, right? So space-time must have always existed. But when it comes to the force, it could simply be a natural explanation that we simply don't understand yet. Why does it necessarily need to be some sort of deliberate thing with a will?
It has to be deliberate, because in science it will show you that there is no action without any reaction that wasn't deliberate or caused by some sort of correlating matter. So in essence, if we can look at the human anatomy, right? The human anatomy and relationship to its environment, it will show you that everything that correlates with one another has structure, it has meaning, it has a reasoning behind how it was formulated, how it was created, and its relationship to its environment, whether it be the stars, whether it be space, whether it be time, whether it be nature. And this correlation in itself is the reasoning behind why everything works together. So if we look at the creation of the space-time continuum, the explosion that created everything, if we say that it's always existed and it goes on forever and forever and forever, right? That would mean it had to come from somewhere. Water, the tap won't turn on unless it comes from somewhere, right? So if we say it comes from somewhere, right? Where did it come from? What started the space-time continuum that we currently exist in?
Right. We
It had to be
currently
done
right.
deliberately.
So Chad, we don't know. But the thing is that just because we don't know that, and just because we can't explain the some force of what created it, whatever it was, doesn't mean it had to be deliberate. Like I said, it could be something natural that we simply cannot explain or don't understand yet. You're simply saying is deliberate because it had to be. And then when I asked you why did it had to be, you said because it had to be. Like that doesn't explain anything because
No,
things have to come.
okay.
Hold on, hold on, wait. You come on saying that things have to come from somewhere. Things have to come from somewhere. Yeah, sure. We all understand that things have to come from somewhere, right? Like why is there something rather than nothing? Is one of the greatest mysteries of our of existence. But just because there is something and we all know that something had to come from somewhere doesn't necessarily mean that it had to be a deliberate force. It could be something natural that we simply don't understand.
It can't be anything natural. And there's a reason why I will say
Why
anything
not?
natural. Everything that is created in this world that we have created to make for our convenience is not natural.
All right, but
Right?
who says
And
that this universe was made for our convenience?
No, it's not made for our convenience, but we exist within it because it was made by something to be
Wait,
convenient.
how do you
And
know
that's
that? Wait, how do you
okay.
know that? That's what I'm saying. How do you know that this universe
Call
was
from
created? Hold on.
Jacob Eaton, DAAU.
to
Oh,
accept.
Jacob. Give me 1 second, Chad.
Yeah,
Jacob, how's it going, Jacob?
it's going pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah. So give me a second. Let me know if you could hear Chad. Chad, can you say mic check 1 2?
Check 1 2 1 2.
I don't hear him.
You don't hear him? That's so weird.
No.
Some people can hear it. Some people cannot. I don't know why that is. So weird.
It happens. Well, I heard his argument, and he was talking about water and all this other stuff. Well, we know how the elements and how they formed and stuff like that. We know that it's described in science and cosmology. So I know he can't hear me, but these types of things are described. Um, and what I'm hearing is from the majority of people is the God of the gaps argument. And essentially what that is, it's an argument that's based on, well, we don't know what this is, so it must be God. And as far as like going in, he said the previous caller made a statement saying that, well, we don't know what caused the Big Bang. Okay, that the Big Bang was the beginning. Okay, now what happened before the beginning of this universe, we don't know. And actually, scientists are actually starting to even get a handle on that, using quantum computers and things like that. So it's
exactly.
so the bar is sliding for what God is in charge of.
Gotcha. I got you, Jacob.
God is in charge of.
I got you, Jacob. So like he can hear you, but for some reason you can't hear him, which is kind of weird because the last caller, they could both hear each other. So which is kind of weird. I don't know why. But yeah, it's TikTok is weird like that. But yeah, so Jake, I said Jake, I'm sorry. So Chad, you understand what you're doing is kind of the God of the gas argument, right?
Saying is that what I'm saying is that it's not the God of the gas. I believe that previously, before we had the expansion of this earth, there was another timeline or another continuum that existed to cause ours. Something had to cause ours deliberately. I don't know if it's an overflow or there was a deliberate creation, but something had to cause us, because I can look at it this way. For how technologically advanced we are, right? There's no explanation for our developments within technology and even how advanced we are without some intervention for the development of human civilization. It's just unthinkable to me that the consciousness we are shared could bring us to this point without something physically or willingly advancing our development, advancing our technological development, social development.
All right.
And
So Chad, once again, that's a God of the gaps argument. You're simply saying that because I don't understand how this could have all been without something deliberately making it be that way, therefore it had to be that way. That's not necessarily true. We know how society developed is because human beings had to interact with each other and find ways to live amongst each other. Therefore, society developed. We know how we develop consciousness because being and empathy, because being a social species, we had to interact with each other. Therefore, we became a conscious species. Like all these things have explanation. It's not necessarily has to be some sort of deliberate God thing. Give me 1 second, actually. Jacob, I appreciate you. I just don't want you to be here all silent. All right, I'm going to drop you for a second. I do appreciate you, though, Jacob.
Okay.
Appreciate you. But yeah, so that's how it that's how there are explanations for these things, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be some sort of deliberate creation of some sort of like super wizard or whatever. Like it doesn't need to be that. They could be natural explanations. There's no reason why it has to be a supernatural one. Whoa, you're really in the matrix there.
How we've developed what we've developed.
Give me 1 second.
So even
Call from.
Give me 1 second, Chad. Hey, who's calling?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I said okay.
OCAB.
I said okay.
Okay. That's your name? Okay.
It's Billy Thornton.
All right, Billy. How's it going, Billy? Are you at least 18 and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yes, I do.
All right, great. Give me 1 second, Billy. Let me just finish off with Chad. But yeah, Chad, do you understand exactly where I'm coming from now?
Understand exactly where you're coming from, but the understanding isn't fully there because even though you say it has a logical explanation cannot quantify the known unknowns of how we've acquired what we have. The explanation that we simply just figured it out after one day is not sufficient to the technological advancement of this world.
Yeah,
it's not quantifiable.
Right, we didn't figure it out in one day. I'm not saying we figured it out in one day. It took us over 100,000 years to figure out fire. Like we didn't figure it out in one day. You know what I'm saying? So is what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say is that there could be natural explanations for these things. It doesn't necessarily have to be something supernatural. But we
Right. Then can I ask you a question if that's the case? Why is it that every single civilization that we have had in existence quantifies their technological development and ingenuity to something of a higher power or something extraterrestrial? And this has been quantified through every single civilization, whether it be through magic, whether it be through diamonds, whether it be through interplanetary beings. This information has been quantified and passed down through human civilizations deliberately to make us aware of the unknowns that are out there.
Because
simply cannot
the reason,
misunderstanding.
right? The reason why, hold on, give me a second. Billy, give me a second. All right, I'm still on with someone on TikTok. I know you can't hear them, but I'm just on someone on TikTok. Billy, I'll get to you in a second. All right, Billy, thank you. So, the reason why that is, Chad, is because number one, humans are pattern recognizing machines, right? We recognize certain patterns. So when we recognize what that causes is that when we recognize certain patterns is that a lot of times we think that those patterns had to come from something supernatural, because like we see faces in trees, we see faces in rocks and stuff like that. So we start to think that those faces mean that they have to be conscious. Because human beings, we understand theory of mind. We know that you're a separate person, I'm a separate person. This animal is a separate being that have different desires. That's why we have that theory of mind. But what that causes is that sometimes when we see faces and other things, we think that they also have a mind, and that's not necessarily true. So that's why we make that mistake. That's why whenever we create certain things, like remember how I said it took at least 100,000 years for humans to master fire, to know how to make fire. That took like 100,000 years for that to happen. Of course, within 100,000 years, that's a very long time. Where all those that knowledge that gets passed down, eventually other legends are going to be put onto that. So the Greeks think that fire came from Prometheus when it really didn't. It just came from their ancestors who knew how to create fire.
But the thing is, there was no knowledge of fire and what it was. Like, let's take, for example, AI, right? People think that AI might not be conscious. People think that AI might not have a mind of its own or understand the modern human realm or the world. I think that's not the case. For AI, we've done what, for example, humans are a species that have a fleeting lifespan, but we live off compounding knowledge, which means we advance the knowledge of our predecessors and then based upon that knowledge, we expand our awareness and our intellectual ingenuity to other realms and to other things which assist us. AI, for example, has been speed run, right? So we can talk about consciousness. The AI has to be conscious. Even the very creator of AI says he no longer understands what's happening with it. So that's what I'm saying. Even the person who creates it doesn't even understand how it's created, how it's operating, and the paradigms in which has shifted based upon the knowledge it has taken in. So this will show you that these things that we call that are tangible within our human reality, even we ourselves do not fully understand where these things come from. And it's highly I would say there are temperaments in thinking, but it's more than acceptable to understand that these things are things that we do not fully comprehend.
Right.
And it's
So
okay to accept that we have
right.
no full comprehension
Yeah,
or tangibility of the things that we're doing.
Right. So yeah,
As
I
human
mean
beings.
that's not a problem. That's not
We're limited.
that's not the problem, Chad. That's not the problem. The problem is your claim is that because our technological advancement, we don't necessarily understand how exactly it happened and how fast it happened. Therefore, it had to be some deliberate creator is a problem because you cannot even show that to be true. Like, how do you show that to be true that it was a deliberate creator in for us to have fire, for us to have agriculture? These things were built up in human beings over time, right? We just passed down the knowledge, and over time, we really forgot where that knowledge came from. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily need to be something supernatural. And yeah, when it comes to AI is not conscious. It doesn't know what it's doing, right? Because even when AI is implemented across companies and fields, they say that there are more problems with AI than it actually solves. So AI is not, it doesn't know what it's doing. It's just a language model. You see what I'm saying? So these are things that we have to take into consideration.
This is why we think so. But look, remember, for our average experience as human beings, we ourselves did not know what we were doing. And that's why we had to create philosophy. That's why we had to create laws to govern our paradigms and understand better of what we were doing. Right? So the structure had to be put in place for our own understanding.
Hey,
right. So we ourselves.
Hold on, Chad. Give me a second, Chad. Give me a second, Chad. Billy, like I said, I'm still on with somebody over on my TikTok. I'm gonna get to you in a second. All right, Billy. I know it's gonna be quiet for a while he's talking because I'm not talking, but just give it a second, Billy, and I promise I'm gonna get to you. All right, Billy. I got someone on my phone, Chad. That's why I'm saying that. But Chad, we do gotta wrap it up because I want to get to Billy. You mind if we go ahead and just wrap this one up?
Cool, bro. It's been cool talking with you. We always expand your thoughts. You know what I mean? That's cool. I ain't got no problem with that.
Not a problem. I appreciate you. All right. Billy, how's it going, Billy? You told me that you were at least 18 and you did disagree with something I have on the board. What did you disagree with?
Yes, I disagree with all of them, but I want to know what's your biggest strength? Like, which one do you feel most confident defending?
Well, I could defend all of them, but probably reparations.
Oh, okay. So again, with reparations, there have been throughout historical timeline, there have been a plethora of victims that have been severely oppressed. And so if we're going to go down this rabbit hole, which we already have, I'm assuming you live in America, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to look at it from an American point of view. So there has been several demographics that have been rewarded reparations. And it seems like if we look at the bigger picture, there have been other victims as well that can make a strong case for reparations. So at this point, what we're doing is cherry picking the Special Olympics event, and well, America is doing that and showing favoritism on which victims should receive reparations, and others should pull themselves up by the bootstraps and elevate themselves to financial independence.
Correct.
I can make a strong claim that women of all colors deserve reparations because of the severe oppression throughout the founding of this country till 1964. I can make a strong claim on Italians,
Okay, so Billy, I'm sorry to interrupt because we're in like in 2 minutes. I need you to get to the point. Are you saying that because other groups can make a claim for reparations, therefore Black Americans don't shouldn't get them?
Absolutely, because now it's gonna now we're just rewarding every person that is a victim, which they have legit grievances. Um, reparations. Do you agree with that or not?
No,
it's not just okay.
The only other group that I say can have a legitimate grievance against the United States is Native Americans.
Not women throughout U.S. history.
Not white women.
You do know that white women have been, sexually assaulted throughout the historical timeline and couldn't do anything about it.
Not at the behest of the state.
Until recently.
Not at the behest of the state. The state didn't sanction white women being assaulted. But and when not only that, when white women were assaulted, they were able to either blame a Black man and have him lynched, or it was actually taken seriously. Black women weren't able to do that because they were either owned or they were second-class citizens. And not only that, a white woman could assault a Black man and get away with it because if he said anything, they'll lynch him instead of punishing the white woman. This happens all the time. Like white women own slaves and they assaulted their enslaved people all the time.
So should we reward indentured servants, the descendants of indentured servants as well? They've dealt with severe harsh work conditions and got physically beaten.
Right, but they were considered human.
Being up to par.
They were considered human.
What about their offsprings?
They were considered human. Their offspring were actually able to integrate and assimilate into whiteness. Talking about the Irish. You ever read the book How the Irish Became White?
I do understand there at some point there was different level of tiers when it pertains to white people, and some white people were classified the bottom of the bottom, and some were at the top of the top, of course. And the Irish and Italians and some others were considered, quote unquote, white trash. So but eventually they all. I'm just making a joke, a secret meeting and say, hey, we're all white here, so let's just unify. But still, they still get judged by the class. All right, this doesn't show how they should get reparations, bro. This doesn't show how to get reparations. The Irish were assimilated into whiteness and were treated like white people. Yeah, sure, there was discrimination against Italian and Irish people. No one denies that, right? That's part of American history. But both of those groups were assimilated into whiteness and were able to benefit from white supremacy. When the American government put in redlining, Irish and Italians were not redlined. They were able to go ahead and go and join the military, able to benefit from the GI Bill, which Black soldiers were not able to do, and they were able to get home loans, which Black people were not able to get. They were also were able to do homesteading, where free land by the federal government were given to white families, well, no matter what they were, Irish, Italian, German, whatever, that Black families were not able to get. As a matter of fact, new immigrants from Norway were able to come to America and able to get land in the West that Black people were not able to get. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that we're talking about. So when we say that, should we get reparations for these groups? They did not suffer the way that Black Americans suffer. Yes, there was discrimination, horrible discrimination against Irish and Italians. I don't believe in bigotry. So yes, they did get discriminated against. We're not going to deny that, right? But when it comes to Black codes, when it comes to Jim Crow, when it comes to redlining, when it comes to the war on drugs and things like that, those were targeted towards Black people. Not Irish, not Italian, not German, not even Cuban, but Black people specifically. So Black people today can feel the same whiplash that their ancestors got.
Yes, because
and their necks being broken from
that's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Attached to a rope.
So that's not what I'm saying.
Or how about
listen to I need you to actually listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that just because that our Black people's ancestors were enslaved, therefore we can still feel the whip on our backs. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that history does not happen in a vacuum. What happened in the past affects your present. Because of redlining, many Black areas today are impoverished, and that's a direct result of redlining. We can prove this. not only have the government actually admitted this, but private institutions have actually also admitted it. A matter of fact, the Libertarian Institution, the Cato Institute, which is a libertarian institution, they've even studied this, and they said yes, the reason for black communities being impoverished is 100% because of redlining. Now, they said that was a government policy, and they also said that's why we shouldn't trust the government. I can kind of agree with them on that, right? But even libertarians admit that the main reason why black communities are impoverished is because of government policy, like redlining, like the highway system, like eminent domain. Those are the reasons, not because black folks are just lazy and we feel the whips on our backs or whatever. That's not the reason. It's because of those policies. So because of that, we need to repair those policies. Like we just got to ask ourselves for one question: if the government damages something, should they be responsible to fix it now?
So you make a lot of great points. Can you please explain to me the political will in Congress to pass reparations?
There isn't any.
Okay, so why are you advocating for pipe dream policies that would never come to fruition?
Because they thought that gay marriage would never come to fruition either, right? But people kept on talking about it, and as people talked about it, as we talk about it, as we put this into the public consciousness, as more and more people understand these things, we can change the political will. There was no political will to pass gay marriage in 1980, right? But it happened in 2012. So it may not happen in 2026, but if it happens in 2058 and I'll still be alive by then I'll be glad that it happens. That's what I talk about.
But people, for the most part, well, what they portray in public are they exhibit a live and let live mindset, even though it might be different when they're in their private setting. That's fine. So I can understand, the possibility of that coming to fruition, which it did. But when it comes to distributing money to one group and not others, don't you think that's going to garner a lot of animosity towards that one group who weren't the direct descendants of the ancestors that actually felt the severe oppression that was implemented on them? And it's been years upon years upon years that happened. And throughout those years, they got civil rights passed. There has been an upward of financial mobility that a lot of Black people took advantage of and elevated themselves to the top 1%. I can name you so much anecdotal evidence of Black people that who started from poverty and uprise to wealthy status, whether it's through the entertainment business, real estate, getting a higher education and advanced degrees to elevate themselves to a six-figure occupation, or like taking advantage of the social media explosion and becoming an influencer and getting money from your viewership and subscriptions and whatever merchandise they sell online.
Okay, so individual Black people becoming wealthy, you think means that reparations shouldn't happen because individual Black people became wealthy? Individual Black people were wealthy back in the 60s. Civil rights still passed, right?
I know at some point we're gonna have to. There's so much surmountable anecdotal evidence that you can't label it.
Billy,
you can't label it anecdotal anymore.
Billy, hold on. You have to understand exactly what I'm trying to say, right? I get what you're saying. We have made advances as a community. The Black community has made massive advances, and that's wonderful. No one is denying that. What I'm trying to say is that your argument is kind of silly on 2 points. Number one, yeah, sure. A lot of individual Black people became wealthy and became a lot of economically freer. That's all good and well. That also happened back in the 60s, but civil rights still passed, didn't it? Because there was still an issue in society, no matter how many Black people got rich. So that's number one. But the second thing is that, you're saying that all these people a lot of people will get jealous. So what? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a problem that the government made. So why shouldn't the government fix that problem? If we all agree that the government should have fixed that problem, and this was the way to fix it, then it was the way to fix it. Getting angry that people who were damaged by our own government is now getting restored to their previous position, or to restored to a position that they would have had if they weren't damaged by the government, and you're mad at that. It's kind of, I'm not saying you personally, but a person who will be upset at that will be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? And I don't think anyone should really even care, because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't care if you were part of that group that was damaged by the government and other people got mad that you were restored by the government. You see what I'm saying? So like, there's no reason for anybody to care. But the third thing that I would say is that we've done this already and no one was upset. The Japanese, they got reparations. Even they got reparations at least 50 years after what they went through. So that means that some of their descendants are the ones who got the reparations, and nobody was mad at the Japanese people. So why all of a sudden now they'll be mad at black people?
So explain to me why. Well, of course you can't explain because you didn't live in that era, but can you at least come up with a plausible explanation as to why black people in the 60s, number one priority wasn't reparation, but instead it was integration, integrating with the group that some were, beating them, lynching them, going into their wealthy towns and burning it all down, having some of their women accusing them of rape, and they were eventually lynched because of the false accusations. Why would a group of people being oppressed advocate for integration when before that they had thriving black communities and the black dollar circulated within that community?
Okay.
Why would their leaders?
Hold on. Let me answer. Number one, integration wasn't the motivator. Integration wasn't what they wanted to do. Equal rights is what they wanted to do. All right. So it wasn't necessarily that we want to integrate into this community now. It was this community needs to treat us as equals. That was the priority, not integration. But integration is simply a byproduct of that, because if you treat me as an equal, I can live around you now. So that's what that was about. It wasn't really integrating into the community. It was about being respected and treated as an equal. That's number one.
And
but the second thing I would do,
integration, sir.
I know that. That's what I just said. But the primary objective was to be treated as an equal. Now that means I can live around you because I'm being treated as an equal. But being treated as an equal, having equal rights, that was the priority, not simply being into your community. That's not the priority. The priority is being treated as an equal. Equal rights. That's number one. But the second thing I would say, the second thing that I would say is that when it comes to the so-called thriving black communities, yes, there were tons of thriving black communities. Seneca, Rosewood, Overtown, Miami, Atlanta, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Those existed all around the country, right? But the majority of black people weren't living that way. We gotta stop pretending that prior to civil rights, the black community was all milk and honey. We know it fucking wasn't. It just wasn't. The majority of black people at that time, 60% were in poverty, absolute poverty. Matter of fact, they were beneath the poverty line before civil rights was passed. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't simply, because they had Tulsa, Oklahoma, y'all were doing all right. Nah, bro. Like, not every black person was living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Seneca Village, in Overtown, in Rosewood. Most black people weren't living like that. Most black people were living in shanty towns. That was the reality of the situation, and that needed to change.
So when you had, the sympathy, the grassroots energy behind it, I shouldn't say you guys, but I don't know what else.
Why wasn't reparations pushed?
Yeah, like why wasn't reparations the number one?
Because MLK died.
Instead of equal rights. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, why would you prioritize equal rights over reparations?
Because I want to be treated as an. Why would I not want to be treated as an equal person? It's kind of silly. Not only that, MLK did call for reparations. He got killed for it.
He did it very late.
Yeah, he did it on later on in the game because we needed to expand equal rights. If we don't have equal rights, why would we have reparations?
So you can garner up the resources and have your own security, like the Native community, Native American.
Native Americans don't have their own security. Have you been to a native? Have you been to a reservation? There are third world countries over there. Native American women are kidnapped all the time. They don't have security. Like you should look this up. You should look up the missing indigenous women. Native American women are kidnapped and killed all the time. It's not safe in the reservation.
They don't have their own law enforcement and
that doesn't mean they have their own. That doesn't mean they have their own protection. They have their own law enforcement. They do, but that doesn't mean they have their own protection. Again, Native American women go missing all the time. Like Native American kids get kidnapped all the time too. There's no security there. Reservations are depressing. You ever been to a reservation? They're completely depressing.
Quote unquote white man doing it. That's their people doing it.
Crime you have no idea if that's true.
Of all the proximity.
Wait, how do you know that? Yeah. Crime is usually proximity. So yeah, Native Americans are committing crimes on other Native Americans, sure. But when it comes to Native Americans missing Native American women being kidnapped, you really think it's other Native Americans doing that?
Well, we don't know for sure, but I mean, since it has something to, since it's usually relating to proximity, I mean, it's a good hypothesis to conclude.
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that. That's a good hypothesis.
It's a Native American doing
right. I'll give you that. But that just
going off stats alone.
No, I'll give you that. Right? Yeah, we can hypothesize that's probably another Native American doing it. I can give you that. However, that actually still proves my point. There's no security on the reservation because I'm not afraid of my wife being kidnapped when she went to go do her nails just a few minutes ago. I'm not afraid that it's going to happen. On the reservation, I'll be very afraid that will happen. There's no security.
Either way, like my point is that when you guys had the momentum and the energy behind it, that should have been utilized in the 60s.
Yeah, MLK and Malcolm X died.
Instead of fighting for equal rights, you could have fought for reparations.
Well, it's not that time anymore, bro. Like, hold on. What I'm saying is that it's silly to think that they're going to give us reparations if we don't have equal rights. If we're not the same type of citizen as a white person, why would they give us reparations? That'd be silly. They're not going to give you reparations if you don't have the same rights. I'm saying, so
but you're saying my point. The Native Americans got reparations and they didn't get equal rights.
No, they didn't. Native Americans didn't get reparations. They got reservations. The reservations are not reparations. They don't even own that land. The reservations are owned by the federal government. They're not owned by the natives, so they didn't get reparations. But when it comes to to black people, that was a push. MLK and Malcolm X died, and then the Black Panthers were infiltrated, and the CIA didn't want the Black Panthers to rise. All the leaders around that time were killed or in jail. That's why it didn't happen, but they did push for it.
There were only two civil rights leaders at that time, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
No, there were more, but a lot of them either went to jail or they got killed, or they got discredited through COINTELPRO programs, or COINTELPRO caused infighting in between the civil rights groups. This is all documented. The FBI has admitted that they're the ones who broke up all these civil rights groups around that time. They've admitted that.
So explain to me now how you are being oppressor.
Like in what ways?
Like, I mean, since you're still advocating for reparations, like explain to me how you are being oppressed. Like, give me some examples.
I don't have equal opportunity.
But I mean, say if there's a 300-pound toothless, 20-year-old trailer park Becky that wants to apply for Hooters, she's going to get discriminated against, even though she has like 3 years of restaurant experience, right?
Right, because Hooters can do that because they have a certain look for what Hooters and Twin Peaks needs to be. They have a certain look, so, like that's not a problem. However, if a black woman goes in there and that she has a restaurant experience and she has the look, But like she gets disqualified for the white person who doesn't have as much experience and doesn't look as good as she does. What does that tell you?
And you know that for sure
because of research, of studies. We've seen research out there that shows that black applicants who are just as qualified, sometimes even more qualified than white applicants, are still have less likely to get their job than their white counterpart. We've seen that over and over and over in every industry.
So you're telling me that if a prime Holly Berry and a prime Holly Berry and Cindy Lauper walk into Hooters and they apply for that job, the manager in his right mind, without using any narcotics, is going to choose Cindy Lauper over Holly Berry? That's what you're telling me?
Racism is not rational, is it?
No, I'm just pulling out like some wild examples.
No, I understand. What I need to answer that question. Hold on. Hold on, listen. I just need you to answer that question, Billy. Is racism rational?
No.
Correct. So they're not in their right. Hold on, wait. So listen, because you kept on saying in their right mind, not doing narcotics. So what you're implying is that they're rational. Racism is not rational. So if you're gonna make decisions through that lens, you're not gonna make a rational decision, are you?
What I'm implying is that, of course, the manager is gonna choose Holly Berry.
Right, I understood. You're saying that, of course, they're gonna choose Halle Berry, but you're thinking in a rational mind. You've already admitted that racism is not rational. So if they're making decisions through that lens, they're not gonna make a rational decision. You have to understand that.
No, I'm making an example that there are real cases where blacks have the advantage over whites,
such as,
especially if it's marketing because of looks. They're going to choose the prettier black woman, or such as the example that I gave you.
All right, but
if prime Cindy Lauper and a prime Holly Berry walk into Hooters at the same time, and there's one spot that needs to be filled, nobody in their right mind is going to choose Cindy Lauper,
again,
who's mediocre at best, over a prime Holly Berry.
I know that, but you kept on saying in your right mind. Racism is irrational. They're not going to make a rational decision. You cannot you cannot get around that, bro. A racist person is not going to make a rational decision. Look how many people have attacked Angel Reese. Look how many white people have attacked Angel Reese. And Angel Reese is one of the most gorgeous women on the planet. And look how many people were attacking her for the entire Victoria's Secret Angels thing.
So now, we're getting off topic.
Not really. You're the one who brought up beauty. You're the one who brought up beauty. So like, let's go down to the thing of beauty. Like, Angel Reese is one of the most gorgeous women on the planet, and a whole bunch of white folks were attacking her when she did the Victoria's Secret thing. Racism is not rational, bro. So yeah, if Angel Reese were to walk in there, they would have chose the white person because they're not doing it. It's not in your rational mind. Matter of fact, Angel Reese is not the only one who's been attacked for her beauty. Also, Meghan Markle, the one who married what was his Prince Harry or Prince Andrew? I think she married Prince Harry. Yeah, Meghan Markle over in the UK. People have attacked her over there in the UK, and she's a beautiful woman too. Racism isn't rational, bro.
Beauty's subjective, because if you watch the movie Ice Age, you would see who Angel Reese looked like.
No, we won't.
Okay.
Angel Reese doesn't look like Sid, bro.
I encourage you.
Angel Reese doesn't look like Sid, bro. She doesn't look like Sid.
Okay, so you already know who I'm talking about?
I know because I saw the racist memes. Cap.
How's that racist, sir?
Comparing a black woman to an animal. Comparing a black woman to an animal isn't racist.
I mean, white people get compared to animals all the time.
Are you fucking with me right now, bro? You trolling with me? You trolling?
Bill Maher called Donald Trump an orangutan.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next caller. I do appreciate you all being up. If y'all want to go ahead and call in, go ahead and call in. I do appreciate y'all. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for watching over on my YouTube on Volsy Thoughts. Again, if you'd like to subscribe, the channel is Volsy Thoughts, my last name, and thoughts, VOLCY thoughts. Subscribe also to Deconstruction Junction.
Social Security.
I appreciate y'all being here over on the Deconstruction Junction. You guys are wonderful. Again, you can go ahead and call in anytime. I do have the clock set right now. You see, I see the clock is at 0. When another person comes in, I will reset the clock, and then we'll go back up to 15 minutes. But as of right now, we have no callers and nobody in the guest queue. So if anybody would like to call in, if you're watching from my YouTube, or if you're watching from my Twitch, or if you're watching from my Facebook, you can go ahead and definitely call in, and I would appreciate that. All right, guys. All right. So liberal economist over on my TikTok says racism is just not efficient or economically maximizing, but it's rational. I don't think that it is. I disagree with that. Liberal economist. The reason why I disagree with that is because racism is based on the entire premise that skin color makes someone superior, and that's just nonsense. Having certain skin doesn't make anybody superior to another. Having a certain skin doesn't make anybody more likely to be a criminal. So that's what racism is. It's the belief around that. That's irrational. But I do appreciate you all being here. I'm about to go ahead and get out of here in a moment. We've been on for about 2 hours. We've been on for about 2 hours. I'll rate another few minutes for either another guest to come up or another person to call in. I didn't miss a lot of calls. Because I'm using Google Voice, y'all. So because I'm using Google Voice, I'm going to miss some calls. So if I missed your call, you'll have to call back in, and then we'll go ahead and keep on discussing. All right. That's what happens. If I'm on with somebody already and I miss your call, we'll go ahead and I have to call back in. I don't have a call in line yet where, I could give you hold music and stuff like that. Until I get that, then we're just gonna have to, do this for the time being. But I want everybody to join me tomorrow. Tomorrow, let me just do this real quick. Okay, so tomorrow, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be on with Black Atheist Rants. We're gonna be talking about the Bash Cookout. The Bash Cookout is the Black Atheist Skeptics and Humanist Cookout. So the Black Atheist Skeptics and Humanist Cookout is going to go down in June, second week, because third week is Juneteenth and Father's Day. So I'm not going to take people away from the kids. So on Juneteenth, or the week before Juneteenth, next in June of this year, the Black Atheist Skeptics and Humanist Cookout is going down. So if you are a Black atheist, agnostic, a skeptic, a spiritual person, or a humanist, you are more than welcome to come to the cookout. This is going to be a Black event, y'all. It is a Black event. Now, if your spouse is someone of a different race, I'm not going to tell you to not bring your spouse because that's your spouse. You know what I'm saying? But this is one specifically for Black folks. That's what we're going to do. All right. So it is going down in June. If you'd like to know more, the Discord is in my bio. Go ahead and join that Discord. I'm also going to be putting out probably tomorrow the RSVP list. I did start the RSVP. So once that RSVP is out there, you guys can go ahead. It's going to be in my bio as well. You can go ahead and click on it, fill out the RSVP just so I know where everybody is coming from. And I'm probably going to start a WhatsApp for it to keep people abreast of what's going on. All right. So this June, the Black Atheist Skeptics and Humanist Cookout. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on with Black Atheist Rants, and we're going to be discussing it. I may not put that live on Deconstruction Junction. I'm not sure yet. I may put it on Deconstruction Junction just so anyone who's Black watching it can go ahead and also subscribe and check me out. But we're going to go ahead and wait a few more minutes just to see if anybody else comes up. And if anybody comes up or if anybody calls in, then we will continue. But I do like to just give y'all a shout out to appreciate y'all. We're at 7,000 likes right now on my TikTok. I really, really appreciate that. Over on a Deconstruction Junction, we're almost at 1,000 views on the live. I see y'all chatting right now. We have 23 current viewers over on the Deconstruction Junction. Just let y'all know over on Decon Junction, I appreciate y'all. All right. I do see some familiar names speaking. Just to let y'all know, I appreciate y'all. I really, really do. Yeah, I've gotten my content way up there. My content has been doing very, very good. Please subscribe to me. Please subscribe to me if you haven't subscribed yet. My YouTube channel is Volsy Thoughts. I will drop it in the chat whenever I can. Over on the Volsy Thoughts channel, I do see people who are watching concurrently right now. I see some familiar faces. I appreciate y'all there as well. Night Sims, if you would like to discuss with me, go ahead and call in because I don't like to talk to the comments. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you to call in. The phone number is right there. Night Sims, if you see it, the phone number is right there. So call in if you would, if you want to actually have the discussion, because don't just, put paragraphs in the comments. Actually come up and have that discussion. Over on the Facebook, shout out to the Black Atheists Agnostics United. Y'all are great. Thank you, Jacob, for calling in. Too bad you couldn't hear the other person. I'm not sure why you couldn't hear them, but for some reason, TikTok is like that. I'm gonna figure that out soon, though. I'm gonna try to make y'all hear each other if I can do that soon enough. So for the person over on my YouTube who's writing paragraphs and dissertations, go ahead and call in, and then we can actually discuss it. But don't run away now. don't run away now. I think we got a runner, y'all, because this guy over on my YouTube comments, he was writing paragraphs, and now all of a sudden, when I told him to go ahead and call in, he's gone quiet. He's gone absolutely quiet. So I think we got a runner, y'all. We may have a runner. Oh, there he is. Hey, Night Sims, again, call in because you just writing those is not, that doesn't do anything. All right, 1776. I'm gonna bring you up 1776. So 1776, I went ahead and sent you a request. Go ahead and come on up if you're brave enough to come up. Otherwise, you're just gonna get the run emojis. All right, UAG, you can go ahead and come up as well. Yeah, I don't like talking to the comments, y'all. So just come on up. Yeah, Caddy, he's actually questioning my citizenship. Crazy. This person over on my TikTok comments, 1776, he says I'm not even American. That's crazy. Dude is questioning if I'm a citizen. Insane. When you see, that's the crazy thing. Look, I'm inviting people to come up, but they just don't. Just coward shit, bro. Oh man. I don't know why they'd be scared. I'm a very nice guy. I don't know why they'd be scared. All right, so UAEG. Go ahead and come on up. Let's talk. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. UEG? Is that how I say that? UAEG? UEG? How do you pronounce that? All right, so UAG has asked me if I lived in a leftist country, and he said I've actually lived in those places. All right, sure. So come on up and let's talk about it. Like I said, I don't just talk to comments. Yeah, Caddy, they always mistake Democrats as leftists. Or whenever I bring up the policies that I believe, they always say, "Oh, but Stalin did this." So the fuck I gotta do what I'm saying? like, yeah, we all know Stalin was an asshole. Yeah, what I gotta do what I'm saying? Like, what I gotta do with the price of tea in China, bro? Yo, it's crazy. 1776 questioned my citizenship to America, and now he's gone. he just ran when I invited him up. UAG has said that I've lived in leftist countries, and when I invited him up, he also ran. Absolutely insanity. Oh man. All right, y'all. So I'm just waiting for one person to call in. I'm just waiting for one person to call in, and then I'm call it a night. Night Sims over on my YouTube say he'll call in a few. I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting for that. A Green Valley. I'm not gonna give you my government name. What I give you my government name, Green Valley? Jesus Christ, what be wrong with y'all? UAG, you haven't told me what topic you want me to research. You just said that you lived in a leftist country. I'm trying to ask you, what was it, and did they have the policies that I would like to see in America? All right. There we go.
Hey, bossy.
Call from.
How's it going, Michaela?
Night Sims.
You do know.
Oh, yeah,
I'm still not modded.
Yeah, I know you're not on that account. All right, Michaela, this call is not gonna be able to hear you because for some reason they can't hear TikTok. I don't know why. But Night, how's it going, Night?
Pretty good. How you doing, Wolsey?
I'm all right. All right. So you were saying that you had a lot of things to say that you disagree with my prompt. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What did you disagree with and why?
All right. Well, a little bit of everything. It's not so much disagreements. I think it's just different viewpoints. A little bit from like where I'm at. I live in Minnesota, so I've dealt with a lot of the stuff. I'm originally from Florida, so I've lived in Republican-run states. I've lived in Democratic-run states. And it's kind of hard for me to voice different opinions with people because a lot of people don't understand the current landscape of our political asylum, I guess you could call it. Because like to me, there's not really a Democrat or a Republican Party. Right now, the current Republican Party is the old school Democrat Party. And to me, the current Democrat Party is a socialist party. So I don't think the Republican Party actually truly exists anymore. So a lot of this stuff I don't really say is a Democratic thing or a Republican thing because I feel like it's more based off of where you're living at the time and what you see going around and how it affects you and your community, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would say this: the part where you said about the Democrats and Republicans, that part doesn't make sense because Democrats are not socialists at all. They want to keep the same capitalism in place. Matter of fact, every single Democrat who's gone up for presidency have all said they're capitalist. So when people keep talking about they're communist or socialist, I'm always asking, where are y'all getting this from? Kamala said she was a capitalist.
So where I get that from,
hold on, wait, let me just finish. Kamala said she was a capitalist. Biden said he was a capitalist. Obama said he was a capitalist. Anyone on the Democrat platform, when they go up to become the only one who hasn't said he's a capitalist was Bernie Sanders. They've also said they're capitalists. So when people say that, talk about they're socialists, I'm wondering what they're talking about, because really the only thing that's kind of socialist that maybe some of them will support, and even that's hard for them to support, is single payer. No other socialist thing that they really support like that. So it's like, where does this come from? And the current Republican Party is just MAGA. They're just magic. That's it. They're a Christian fascist country. Party, right?
They're not even old school conservatives.
Yes and no.
To
This
be
is why I
honest.
say you can't take parties in as far as what people think, because a lot of people, like you said, they don't see socialism as, well, the Democrats are, but a lot of people fail to realize the actual meaning of a socialist run type country, or socialism in itself, actually refers to a government takeover of industry. That is socialism 101 in itself.
Yeah,
So,
we don't have that.
Take the electrical car mandates, for instance. When you literally almost destroy oil industries and try to get all these tax credits and all these conversions for people, specifically to eliminate the oil industry and focus on, hey, we need to go green, we need to go electrical, and do this huge push this direction, when it hasn't been something that really should have been pushed that hard that fast. Because one, for all the electrical charging stations, what do you need? Oil. You still need oil for all of these different things to go that direction, but yet how he was pushing it and how multiple people were pushing it at the times, and this is just one instance, just something that can easily be seen as the takeover of industry. It was literally the government with Biden at the helm trying to take over industry as far as the transportation sector is concerned. You've got portions of highways.
Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and
strictly...
hold on. Let's go ahead and address that. When it comes to take over an industry, right? When you take over an industry, you do exactly what Norway does. You nationalize the industry, therefore their profits are considered part of the government budget. None of them did that.
And how
so
was
when
that
hold
not
on,
for
wait,
the
hold
electrical
on,
side?
hold on. None of them did that. What they did was they tried to basically, just like how you said, promote more electrical vehicles. Now, of course, as you pointed out, there's a flaw in that, because all that still requires oil, right? But when you say that they're trying to reduce our dependence on oil, or as you say, destroy the oil industry, which is kind of BS to me, because the oil industry, not only did Biden pass more drilling during that time, but subsidies towards the oil industry still remained. So I don't see how an oil industry is being destroyed when they're passing more drilling permits, more drilling permits, and keeping the same subsidies. So it's kind of silly to say that they're destroying the industry just by subsidizing electronics,
no,
right?
Because
but
what they didn't point out
hold on,
is all those areas that they authorized drilling were
a
not in areas where oil was.
takeover of industry mean that they will nationalize it, and they didn't do that. They're not even pushing for it.
Well, that was their intention. That's what Biden was pushing for.
What evidence do you have of that?
Obvious to anyone that could research
what
it.
Evidence do you have of
the
that?
Evidence was just in the fact that you have corridors, you have certain states that are imposing additional taxes on people that used oil. I mean, we could spend hours going over this.
That doesn't nationalize the industry. All that does, hold on, all that does is discourage.
When it becomes
hold on, listen. That does not nationalize an industry just because you're encouraging people to not use it. If you encourage people to not use it, that doesn't mean that you're nationalizing the industry. Those are two different things. Nationalizing the industry literally means that the government is going to take over that business, and now your business is part of the government budget. Nationalizing the industry is not discouraging people to use a product. It's kind of silly.
Right, but what you just said, repeat what you just said on that.
Nationalizing an industry is when a government actually takes over the business, and that business is now considered a national asset. It's considered part of the government budget.
Now, exactly, that specific part you just said. Okay, this is where a lot of people separate, and I think this is where the biggest divide is, and a lot of people don't get past this. A lot of people think that in order for a government to do an industry takeover, it must be, absolute from day one. It's a convergence, just like everything in history has been a convergence. So how they started out is by doing incentives, doing these tax breaks and everything. You can look back at history and almost every type of thing that's socialized over time, whether it's been in America or not. Social Security, for instance, in a way was socialism when it first started. Now it transformed, but in essence of itself, that's what it was originally. Same with food stamps, same with CashApp, same with all these different programs. They were socialist in nature, but luckily they were transformed to not necessarily be socialist in an absolute form of nature. Eventually, because of the party spread and what happens with Congress and the House and everything like that,
There was pitfalls on both sides that were able to kind of circumnavigate the different things to make it into what it is today. Now, that doesn't change the fact that they are still socialist in nature. It's just that there was other laws and bylaws and byproducts from that has changed those rules, so to speak, to where it fits multiple narratives. Now, the same thing with the electronic stuff. When it comes to the cars, it starts by slow takeover. It's not instant takeover. You can't, if socialism came into America and just strictly tried to drop it like a dictatorship, you would have wars all over the country. So the only way the government, regardless of what party's involved, can go to a dictatorship type route or a socialism type route is to do a soft takeover, which is where all the mandates come in as far as what they call incentives and whatnot. All these are technical mandates that people are just seeing that are disguised as, oh, these are tax credits, these are this, these are that. Well, no,
the thing is,
if you're encouraging people to change what is natural for them, you are effectively taking over industry.
Okay. No, you're not, because if people use more electrical vehicles and less gas vehicles, does that mean that the government now has to take over the oil industry because they're not using gas vehicles anymore?
Well, essentially, the government's already in charge of the oil industry and the electrical industry.
No, they're not.
They ought to realize that.
No, they're not. They're not in charge of that.
Because you can't drill without government approval.
Hold on. Yeah, you can't. Of course, you can't drill without government approval because the government is the one that controls the land. That doesn't mean that it controls the industry. Those are two different things, bro.
Okay.
You just can't say that just because they hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. Just because you have to have a permit in order to drill doesn't mean they control your industry, because you're the one who still sets the prices. You're the one who still drills. You're the one who makes all the trade deals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They don't control your company. The government doesn't decide who's the CEO of BP. They don't do that. So hold on. The second thing that I would say is that what you're saying doesn't even need to happen, because what other countries that have a nationalized industry does is that the government simply just started a company. They started an SEO. Why won't if America was trying to take over, if the Democrats are trying to take over the oil industry, why not simply start a state-owned enterprise? They could just do that. If they just do that, they can just go ahead and buy up parts of BP and Shell. They don't have to do all this roundabout giving people incentives to buy electric vehicles, which will take. Hold on. They don't have to do this entire thing to convince people to buy electric vehicles, and therefore more people are buying electric vehicles, and then in 50 years we'll take over BP. They don't have to do that. Just start a state-owned enterprise. How come they just do one?
That's not how it works in real life, dude. You need to.
That is how it works in real life.
See how the real world works. I've traveled multiple countries.
Hold on. So let me ask you a question. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. So Norway doesn't have state-owned enterprises?
They own part of BP. They own part of Mobil.
Hold on. You didn't answer my question. Hold on. You didn't answer my question. Does Norway have a state-owned enterprise, which is the oil industry in their country? Do they have that?
In technicality, yes.
Not in technicality. They have it. The oil company in Norway is a state-owned enterprise. It's ran by the government. And the government of Norway is the one that set it up. They didn't have to do any incentives. They just set one up. Same thing with Venezuela. Same thing with Nigeria. These are all state-owned enterprises. They just set one up. So saying that the Democrats are trying to take over the oil industry, why won't they just want to set up a state-owned enterprise? They never have. As a matter of fact, that's actually poison in the Democrats to set up a state-owned enterprise. They're gonna look at you crazy because they're gonna think that you're some sort of crazy communist. Like the Democrats are not trying to take over the oil industry. This is stupid.
So the oil industry that you're talking about, the Norway owns, what's it called?
Give me a second.
It's called Equinor. I can tell you because I travel the world and I know what it is. So it's managed by the Norwegian Ministry of Petroleum and Energy. The only difference between that and between our departments here that control oil reserves and oil intakes and imports and exports and all that is the fact that Norway guarantees that the revenues from their oil and gas industry benefit the Norwegian economy and society as a whole, and only the Norwegian economy and society as a whole.
That sounds great. That's what we should do.
Stuff goes overseas.
Yeah, that's great. That sounds like the word
in itself.
That's what we should do.
That's just them taking control of things because it doesn't eliminate other people from buying oil.
You
or
just
other
said
imports and exports. They still import other oils.
Right. Of course they do. Right. So you just said
own it.
But you just said
benefits their country only.
Right. That's what we should do. And you said that
But that's not
hold
socialism.
on.
Socialism benefits the
let
pockets
me
of the
finish.
government only.
Let me finish. Let me just finish. You just said
you've got to learn the difference.
You just said that socialism is taking over of an industry, which is exactly what Norway did. And now you're saying that it's not socialism because it benefits a society. Socialism is it's literally implied in the name socialism, society. So when you say that, hold on, when you say that, when you say, I'm not gonna fight for the mic on my own live, bro. I'm not gonna keep fighting for the mic on my own live. I'm not gonna keep fighting for the mic on my own live. You need to actually answer. You need to actually let me answer. You need to let me actually answer. You need to let me actually answer. All right? Because every time I'm answering, you want to go ahead and interrupt. Stop doing that. Yeah, of course you hung up because you're a bitch. So you need to actually let me answer. I could have a conversation with somebody, but you'd actually need to let me answer. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. I do gotta go ahead and get out of here because the last person just hung up. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do appreciate y'all. Hey, Night Sim. Like every time I was trying to answer you, the only thing you did was interrupt. That's what you did. Every time I was trying to answer, all you did was interrupt. And then when I put you on hold, that's when you want to hang up. I want to have a conversation, but you actually need to let me speak and have that conversation with you. Because every time I was trying to answer you, you did nothing but interrupt. Yeah, I sent you the music because again, you need to actually stop interrupting. That's why I sent you the music. That's why I sent you the music. Here's the thing, y'all. I have no problem, right? Because y'all saw it. Everyone here saw it. I was quiet for at least 3 to 4 minutes. And then when I actually started to respond and try to answer him, he did nothing but interrupt me. You did nothing but interrupt me. I let you talk for at least 3 to 4 minutes, bro. I let you talk for at least 3 to 4 minutes. And the moment I started to answer you, you did nothing but interrupt me. That's not how you have a conversation. Sorry, you're not gonna you're not just gonna go ahead and take over the live. All right, so it seems that Goofy wants to also have a conversation then. Why don't you just call up then? Why don't you call up? Here's the thing, y'all. I have no problem talking, right? I have no problem because everyone here saw it. I was quiet for at least 3 to 4 minutes while he was talking. And the moment I started to respond, the moment I started to try to answer him and try to give him a rebuttal, he kept on interrupting. That's all he did. Interrupt. I didn't personally attack you. Your profile picture is literally Goofy. Is literally Goofy from Goof Troop. That's your profile picture. Your profile picture is literally Goofy from Goof Troop. And now that I called you Goofy, like this is what I'm talking about, bro. Yeah, Michaela, I saw your connection broke, but for some reason, Michaela, you're not gonna be able to hear the people calling in. Yeah, Krygo, I agree with that. Like the money for homeless populations should actually be going to the homeless, not just some sort of some crony, some pocket crony, right? So all that needs to be addressed because it's not like bureaucracy does have its issues. Bureaucracy have its issues. Like, and one of the issues what you're pointing out, where a certain program is supposed to go towards a certain population, but it doesn't get there because it goes through the hands of administrators, and bureaucracy. That is something to be addressed. Like people on the left, like I've always said, need to address that, right? That's why me personally, if I were to run a homeless program, if we were to give people money, it should just go as a check to that homeless person. Don't let it go through any sort of administration. Just give a check to the homeless person. You know what I'm saying? Give it directly to their bank account or whatever they have. Just give it directly to them. You know what I'm saying? Instead of if it going through middlemen. Instead of it going through middlemen, it just goes directly towards them. For guaranteed housing, like again, we could change zoning laws. We could buy up like empty hotels and turn that into temporary living where people can be able to live for while they get back on their feet. You know, those hotel rooms. Buy up empty hotels and turn them into rooms. Change the zoning law so we have more instead of single family homes, we have more multi-family units. You see what I'm saying? Because one of the big issues with homelessness is because of the housing supply. We have a manufactured housing supply because we have a manufacturing housing shortage, I should say, is because they're like 20 million homes that are empty. You know what I mean? And they're all owned by like landlords, I think, by corporate landlords, really. They're just on the market for speculation. So yeah, there are multiple ways we can change this. So that's what we need to be doing. What, Gavin and the embezzlement? Yeah, of course. I don't rock with Gavin Newsom. I don't rock with Gavin Newsom. All right, CJ, if you want to come up, CJ, go ahead and come up. I'll go ahead and send you that invite. All right, y'all. I might get out of here. I'm just seeing if someone else wants to come up. And if not, then I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here for real. I said I was gonna get out of here, but like someone decided to call in, but they wanted to preach instead of having a conversation. There have been people arrested. Good. People arrested. They're arrested. They got arrested. Good. All right. Yeah, Goofy. I work for the Department of Children and Families for a few years. There are a lot of layers to these programs. A lot of these social programs, they're a lot of them go through the hands of like private companies too. You're not even talking to government officials. You're talking to some sort of private company. I mean, there's a lot of layers that it has to go through. We have tons of bureaucracy in these social programs, which is a problem. I don't like the way that we do social programs in this country. And one of the reasons is because of bureaucracy. And another one of the reasons is that because the way that we means test it, it causes dependency. Like for food stamps, for example, in food stamps, it causes dependency because, you know, if you make a certain amount over the food stamps, you're going to be off the program, right? Well, at least that's how it is in Florida. You're going to be off the program. But then even with the new money that you're making, it may not be enough for it to cover your food expenses for that for that month. You see what I'm saying? So it's like people then just kind of lie about the money, the income they're making in order to stay on the program. You see what I'm saying? So I don't like the way that we do social programs in this country. We should completely change it. If it were up to me, I would find a way for us to just give people cash, just give them the money straight up instead of going through all the testing that we do. Of course, there are things like like SSI for disability, right? Some people are going to need more than others. But the way that I would do social programs is that the way that we've seen before is through UBI. I think the people that under a certain amount of poverty should simply get UBI. I mean, just give them the money straight up, no questions asked, and then we see what they do with it. Because as far as what we've seen, that's been a lot more successful than what we had. I think there was a pilot program in Georgia and one in California where single mothers were given a UBI, just I think $900 to $1,000 a month, no questions asked. And we saw that it ended up in positive results. These people went back to school, or they did overtime at their jobs because they were getting extra money. You see what I'm saying? They were a lot more productive. If they quit their jobs, it's because they were taking care of their children, or they're going back to school. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what we should do in this country. If we're going to do a social safety net, because I do agree that we need a social safety net, we should just do UBI for them instead of all that what we currently do. Like the food stamp program and stuff like that. If we give kids after school programs and pizza parties, they'll do better. After school programs actually do help out. Like for example, the Panthers had the free breakfast program, and the kids who are in the free breakfast program, we saw that their grades were going up, right? Because they were able to eat in the morning. Therefore, they were able to do better in school. So that's one thing. And after school programs do get kids off the street, right? Because the Panthers also had that. So a lot of kids were not joining gangs anymore because they were off the street. They gave them something to do. So after school programs and breakfast programs, those do work. Those do work, right? But that's not the only thing that we need. We need to reform our entire education system. I think every single high school in America, we should start this off in red line areas, but I think every single high school in America should come attached with a vocational program. So every high school student that graduates with some sort of trade degree or some sort of trade license in their hands. And therefore, we have people who don't need to go to college and that are entering the workforce immediately. And those who want to go to college are able to go to college. You see what I'm saying? And I think that will bring the cost of all colleges down as well. But yeah, we don't only just need after school programs. Those do work. We have seen after school programs work. Those do work, right? It gives kids something to do after school. It gives them more tutoring, gives them more attention in order for them to do their homework. And not only that, you can get the parents involved in those as well. You see what I'm saying? So after school programs do help a lot. But I think they need to be more robust. I think our education needs to be more robust as well. Especially from elementary, because not every student learns the same. So we need to reform the way that we do education, period. Because the way that we had education came from like the 1800s. You see what I'm saying? So we need to redo education. My bad, Michaela. I see you trying to join in. My bad, Michaela. All right. Yeah. So HM, what we've seen when it comes to these pilot programs for UBI is that it actually worked. I wish you would just call in instead of just, talking in the comments. Give me a second.
Oh, Volsi, by the way, when someone's on the other line, since they can't hear me, could you tell them what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's also for me to do. Give me a second, because there are other people. Give me 1 second.
I'm not modded on this.
You're not modded on that one? Okay, I'll get you modded. Just give me a second. I'm just telling people over on my YouTube to go ahead and call in, since they've been complaining this whole time.
It's so weird because I'm used to like checking the comments, like making sure that bullshit's not going on the comments. I'm mod with a stern fist.
Yeah, I know. I definitely know. Oh man.
And they being so mad too, like your mod KK is so mean. I'm like, no, I just don't tolerate nonsense.
Exactly, baby. Let me see your nose, baby. Yeah. But baby came back home from doing her nails. I want to see the
I
nails.
see your nails, girl.
Yeah, Michaela wants to see your nails. Go ahead and show it to the camera. That's her nails, y'all.
Oh, period.
Mm-hmm. She said, period.
Oh, they're cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She said your nails is cute. I like those. Yeah. She said thanks. Yeah. I see wifey nails. Wifey nails is amazing. Yeah, man.
I see. I'm like all moisturized, but I see you, girl.
Yeah, she the one who got my skin looking right because she bought some turmeric soap and everything like that. Now my skin looking all good. Yeah, man, love it.
That's what I used to do with my boyfriend, making sure he's all nice and moisturized and stuff. It's funny because I used to when it was cold outside, like wintertime, I used to put Vaseline on him like a black mother does her child. It's funny.
All right, give me 1 second, Michaela. All right, guys, I'm not really reading the comments. I see y'all asking me questions and stuff like that, but like y'all need to call in because I don't have the context of what you're asking. Someone asked me about Gavin Newsom. I don't even rock with that guy. Another person asked me, "Oh, is it fair that I pay $60K in taxes or something?" I don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all got to go ahead and call in. I'm not seeing the context of what y'all saying. Like, they just
call in or request up on TikTok.
On TikTok, exactly. Either request up on TikTok or call in because I'm not getting the context of what y'all saying. So y'all need to actually call in because I've been sitting here for the past maybe 15 minutes when y'all said y'all would have and y'all haven't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not seeing the context of what y'all talking about. Yeah, all right. So because I don't read the comments. So actually go ahead and y'all see the number up here, the 786-530-5941. Call that number and then we'll go ahead and have a discussion because I'm not getting the context of what y'all talking about. Yeah, if they don't call in like the next few minutes, I'll leave.
Question is in relation to reparations for Black Americans because I know they like to bring up taxes into that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna have to scroll all the way back up.
Or is it? I think it may be between leftist policies and reparations for Black Americans. That's where I'm thinking, or maybe even the sixth one. Because taxes for the working and middle class have gone up since Trump has been in office. So
yeah, of course.
So I'm thinking it's between 6, 3, and 1. No, 6, 3, 6, maybe 6, 3, and 2. That's the only way I could think of the context.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find the context, but I just typed to one of the guys. I'm like, yo, I can use $60K to pay for childcare. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, you gotta call in, bro. Like, what? Like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I mean, the number's there. I don't know why they're so afraid. We don't bite.
Yeah, the number's right there,
well,
man.
I take that back. You don't bite. I definitely will bite the stupid bitch's head off.
Yeah, I already know.
I tell you, my tolerance be so low, so low.
Yeah,
I'm like that. It's funny because a year ago that night when your little Christian homeboy, came up and was spewing all that nonsense, I'm like, I don't. And the funny thing he was saying, I said, actually, I'm being nice. That is the funny part. You can ask Volsey. I'm actually being nice, and I'm only being nice because you're Volsey's homeboy.
Yeah, exactly. That night, y'all being real life. Something like, damn, they would have dropped them by now. They only doing this as a favor to me. That's the only reason.
You have no idea. I am actually in my nicest form.
Exactly. That was the nicest form. That was the nicest I ever seen. He hasn't been back yet, but
that's probably one of the nicest times you have ever seen me on any panel that you have done.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact,
on Clubhouse.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm still in his Discord. I'm going to ask him to join in on another day because I am trying to set that up finally. Because I've been.
Oh, you remember, like, translate.
Aunt G.
All right, Aunt G, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How you doing?
I'm all right. All right. Are you are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm over 18. I'm 33, and yeah, if you want me to just speed run your board real quick, that's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna go number 1 through 5. Tell me what you agree and disagree with.
Yeah, no problem. America was never great. I'd like to say America was always great.
Okay, great. Number 2.
For who?
Number 2, let's see. I'm trying to look at it without it playing because I don't want it to be like an echo or something. Right, leftist policies are better for society?
Yes.
I really don't even know what the current leftist policies are, but I just feel like that whole LGBTQ sodomite agenda was terrible for our society.
All right, great. Number 3. You agree or disagree with reparations for Black Americans?
Let's see. 3, reparations for Black America. Yeah, it's going to be a pass for me because I just don't feel 4. That people that didn't have slaves shouldn't be paying for people that weren't affected by slavery.
All right. This is what's going to happen. All right, so cool. This is what's going to happen. All right, AJ, I just need you to say agree or disagree. All right, so number 4, do you believe in a God?
Do you mind reading it to me?
Number 4 says, why should I believe in your God?
Well, it might be the key to your salvation, brother.
Okay, cool. Number 5 says faith is unreliable. Do you think faith is reliable?
Yeah.
All right,
pretty
great.
reliable.
And number 6 says Trump is not the president of peace. You think Trump is the president of peace?
Yeah, I'd say he's trying to make some peaceful things, but
all right, good, cool. All right, so yeah, America was never great. The reason why I believe that America was never great is because we never actually lived up to the principles of liberty and justice and equal opportunity for all. And in some ways, we've even fought against it in the past, and I think we're even doing that now in a lot of ways. So that's why I would say that America was never great.
Well, real quick on that, if you're, I mean, what are you comparing it to? Do you think there's a society better for you?
I'm comparing it to the principles that it set out. The principles that it set out was liberty, justice, and equal opportunity for all. We haven't lived up to that.
Yeah, like just give me an example of a place that's actually better for you.
Irrelevant.
This is the only place you have, brother.
The conversation's about America. You can.
Yeah, the conversation's about America. So that's relevant.
So there's a place greater.
Hold on.
The conversation's about America. We are Americans. Other countries are irrelevant.
Is that what you're saying?
Hold on. All right. Can you hear the person on my TikTok, AJ?
No, TikTok's for sodomites, but I can't hear them. No,
you can't hear them. Okay. So yeah, I know. All right. So yeah, So here's I don't know what he's talking about, but the here's the thing, AJ. Other countries are relevant to the conversation. We're not talking about other countries. We're talking about United States. The United States set out a certain principles, right? And United States is not living up to those principles. So therefore, it's not.
Well, why not? You don't have the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness?
I have. Yeah, I do have. I do have life. Liberty is something that's
So how's your liberty squashed? I mean, can you not do whatever you want to do?
No.
Can you not pursue your own happiness?
Maybe.
Do you think Somalia would be a better place for you, or Nairobi, or fucking Guadalajara? You think these places are going to be better for you?
I need some AJ. I need you for you to explain why are you bringing up other
America
places when we're talking about
United States? Fucking great. You could be a shitbag here. I get executed.
This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
You're not going to interrupt me.
Oh no.
I'm not sure why you keep bringing up other countries when we're talking about the United States. So in the United States, we are not living up to the principles. I need you to actually address that.
Well, you tell me how we're not living up to the principles, because I think you do have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Do we have equal opportunity?
Yeah.
Okay, we do not. Because it's actually been shown several times that your opportunity is affected by your skin color and your sexuality.
Let me ask you this. Are you educated? Did you go to college?
Yes, I went to Florida Memorial University, and I'm in a university for my master's degree right now.
Yeah. So what are you going for your master's degree in?
Clinical mental health counseling.
Oh yeah, it sounds like you're real oppressed, right?
Hold on, give me a second. I'm sorry, Mikhail. I got it.
Yeah, the white daddy's holding you down, right?
Say that again.
Yeah, white daddy's holding you down, right?
I never said anything about somebody white holding me down.
Right. So it doesn't sound like you're very oppressed, brother. I mean, do
I didn't
you
say
have
anything
a car?
about oppression either. I didn't say anything about oppression. Having a car doesn't mean we don't have oppression.
You call him
People had a
second.
yeah, I will. We had a oppression back in the 60s. And people said, hold on, no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Black people in the 60s had cars. There was still oppression. So you just can't say, do you have a car or you don't have oppression? That's silly. So what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say, irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is that
we're talking about the United States.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mikhail, he can't hear you. But in the United States, what we have, we don't have equal opportunity.
The black people in Africa are not doing great.
Why not? It seems like, I mean, some of your peers were not as successful, right?
Answer you.
Yeah.
In the United States, the reason why we don't have equal opportunities is affected by your socioeconomic status and a lot of times by your skin color. And this has been studied multiple times. So your skin color and your socioeconomic status should have no bearing on opportunities that you have. And if it does have bearing on opportunities, and if it does have bearing on the opportunities that you have, then that means life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are also affected.
Yeah, well, I just feel like that's false because you're actually a perfect example of false. If you try hard and you set your mind to it, it seems like you're achieving greatness. You're on your way to get your master's degree.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm able to actually do that, the reason why I'm able to do that is because I was in a better socioeconomic position than a lot of my peers. A lot of my peers don't have my socioeconomic position.
Yeah, because your parents probably did better than their parents, right? Because they had equal opportunity to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
Exactly. My mom
was
a nurse.
Probably decided not to smoke crack.
Oh, can you? Why is he keeping on cutting you off, Olsen?
I know. That's why I put him on in the whole music.
You're oppressed,
all right.
brother.
So AJ, the reason why I keep putting you on, AJ, the reason why I put you on hold music, AJ, is because you keep on interrupting.
Yeah, that's fine.
So when it comes to my parents, my parents were, my mom was a nurse, my dad was a respiratory therapist. They were able to do that, right? So the and the thing is, they didn't go up in the 60s. They're from another country. So the reason why they were able to do that.
What do you mean other countries? I said the 60s.
They were from another country. So the reason why they were able to do that,
when did they come here?
They came here in the 70s. So the when I'm talking about my personal experience,
actually, right. So can you tell him?
Hold on.
Right.
Actually, give me a second.
Hold on, AJ.
Was it Michaela? So how about you tell him why your parents could not come here earlier than the 70s? Could it be because Jim Crow laws would have prevented your family from coming here? Because of your race.
Yeah, that's a good point, Michaela. All right, so my parents came over in the 70s. AJ, can you tell me why my parents were not able to come here before the 70s?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they weren't born yet.
No. My dad was born in 57.
There was a thing called Jim Crow, which did not allow non-white people.
It was because hold on. Listen, AJ. It was because AJ, listen. It was because of Jim Crow laws. People who were black were not allowed to immigrate to America.
Jim Crow laws only apply to the South, right?
Can you shut up for a second, dude? The reason why my parents were not able. The reason why my parents were not able to come before
they couldn't have went to Boston or New York.
Because my parents were not able to come before the 70s is because there was a limit on black people coming into the country. And not only that, they were basically not allowed. They were not allowed to come into the country. I'm going to need you to be quiet, AJ.
Right. That's not true.
So that is true. That is true.
Did they immigrate to the South?
That is true. My parents immigrated to Florida, AJ.
To the North.
To Florida,
That's
AJ.
Right. Oh, Florida.
And they weren't allowed to come to the North either.
And I'm like,
so, everybody pause. Yeah, I was born in America. I was born in the United States. So I'm still a foreigner, even though I was born in the United States.
Are you not a tether?
I know you can suck my dick.
Yeah, right. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, enjoy hating on the country that probably provided a way better life. What kind of shithole did they come from?
Yeah, and enjoy being a little bitch. Are you mad that
where did they
are you
come
mad that
from?
I smashed your mom
where
last night,
so
bro?
Much better that they
are you mad
from?
that I smashed your mom last night, AJ? Are you mad about that?
Oh yeah.
Is that the reason?
Where did they come from that was so much better?
Yeah, they came from your mom. They came from your mom. That's where they came from.
Was it Nairobi? Oh,
they came from your mom.
You're such a good debater, bro.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
So
you're the one who started with the insults.
You're so oppressed.
You're the one who started with the insults. You're the one who started with the insults.
Your parents came here and
you're
loved
the one who started
America.
With the insults.
They love America. If you ask your parents, they're ashamed you're a liberal.
I know your mom loved me last night. That's why I know she
bet
left.
Your parents voted for Trump because they know the truth. They know what happens to
I bet your mom voted for my dick.
Communist takeover.
I bet your mom voted for my dick.
Yeah, you're showing your audience how smart you are right now.
Yeah, exactly, slow boy. Exactly, slow boy. You're the one who started with the insults.
What country did they come from? What country did they flee so bad
Short bus. You're the one who started with the insults. You're the one who started with the insults, short bus.
So bad they fled to America.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. So we have Kirby. Kirby, how's it going, Kirby?
Going good, man. It's going good.
Are you at least 18? And great. And would you like to discuss what I have on the board?
America was never great. Now, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably gonna be quick. I agree with you. Now I'm gonna tell you the explanation. It's a little bit weird because you know what I'm saying the slaves that was brought to America builded America, and then they're still gonna treat us wrong, even though we kind of built your nation, which is pretty crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so cool. Anything you disagree with?
Nah.
All right, cool. Not a problem. Appreciate you being up here, Kirby.
That's it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. To because I gotta get something to eat and I gotta clean up what I gotta clean up. But Michaela, I appreciate you being up. I'm gonna go ahead and be on tomorrow, but I'll probably be on with Black Atheist Rants because we're gonna be promoting the Bash Cookout.
Okay, but you gotta mod this account.
Oh yeah, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna mod the account. Give me 1 second.
Because I can't go on live on my one other account because basically for being a woman and enjoying myself, I was on camera with some other women. I'm like, my titties were bouncing to music on TikTok, and they said that was inappropriate, despite me being cool 12. So, welcome to being a woman on social media.
Oh man! All right, guys, I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do appreciate y'all for being here today. This was a long one, about 3 hours. You guys are great. I appreciate y'all. And if you start with the insults, I'm gonna go ahead and insult you. All right. So if you talk that's what I do. Oh man. All right, guys. I am gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do
he used the word first of all, he used to call you a tether. He's a fucking white man. I'm like, so which means he's been listening to conversations that he ain't even supposed to be in, number one. Number two, he's using that's typically a word that people use to disrespect Black Americans who come from, different ethnicities. You have never disrespected Black Americans, so you're not appropriated Black American culture. So I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, don't know what he was talking about.
Really coming from an immigrant background is not what that word. What I have heard it in context.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, for everyone who's bitching and moaning in the YouTube comments, he's the one who started with the insults. I was just trying to go through the history, give him facts and everything like that. And the first thing he did was call me a tether. So.
Oh.
Call from.
All right, what's your name?
Oh, my name is fucking Nigger Hater. I hate niggers. Nigger.
Okay, great. Wow, nice. Hey. Yeah, are you mad I smashed your mom last night, bro? Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Michaels.
But I'm like, Volsi, right to your profile. America was never great.
Hello?
Look at that.
Exactly.
Proving the pond.
Tevin,
Yeah,
how's it
that
going?
bitch is fat as fuck. She's got to be fat and single. But anyway, did your sub-Saharan parents sell the slaves or not?
So Tevin. Okay, cool. Are you at least 18? And did you want to talk about what I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm 29. Did your sub-Saharan African parents sell the slaves or no?
Nah. What they did was they fucked your mom. That's what they did.
Oh, you're such a good debater, brother.
Hey, you're the one who started with the racism in the debates.
You don't know what a tether is.
You're the one who started with the racism in the debates.
You're
the one who racism with the Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, guys. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here for real.
That's what your YouTube comments are looking like.
Exactly.
I'm guessing.
All right, guys. Phone line is closed. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do appreciate y'all. Y'all are wonderful. All right, guys. So Michaela, I'm gonna see you tomorrow, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about that. All right.
Okay, I'm like, listen, I'll be here. I just gotta be modded so I can actually mod for you.
Yeah, you modded. You good? You modded.
Am I? I don't see. Hold on, let me look at. Yeah, I don't see. Maybe it's because I don't know Ariel. Because sometimes I'll test to see Ariel, but I can't see. The dots with the.
Yeah. But all right. I'm going to go ahead and see y'all soon. Yeah, Ariel is also modded. But all right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and see y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and get out. Oh, my bad, Michaela. My bad. But I got to get out of here for real because I got to get something to eat and I got to go ahead and clean up the house. But I'm going to see y'all soon, all right? I do appreciate you all being here. Y'all are wonderful. Love you all. Y'all have a good night. Be here for tomorrow while I'm going to be promoting the Black